the 3 o'clock start at Rugby Park as Kilmarnock against Celtic, with your commentary team of Pat Nevin, Stephen McGinn and Al Lamont.
Thanks again, Rich. Welcome to Rugby Park as Celtic look to regain their place at the top of the Premiership with a win over Kilmarnock, who themselves could draw level with St Mirren in 6 with a victory of their own. They have won 2 of their last 3 here against the champions, although Celtic's league-winning performance at this venue in May, when they blew Killie away in a 5-0 triumph, remains fresh in the memory. 7 of the Celtic starting 11 from that day start again for this one. 7 all of the Kilmarnock starting lineup also started the 2-1 win here over Celtic back in December. So both sides know what it is to get a victory here against the other. Let's see how this one pans out as the 2 captains, Kyle Vassell and Callum McGregor, go through the coin toss and handshake with the referee Nick Walsh, and then the players make their way towards the centre circle, and both sides lining up in the respective halves as Kyle Vassell lays a wreath on the centre spot, and we will observe a minute's silence on this Remembrance Sunday as the PA announcer just gives the fans the details of what's coming up. And there will be a minute's silence as we pay our respects to those who have lost their lives in conflicts around the world. The Kilmarnock players in their blue and white tops, white shorts, white socks on the right hand side of the centre circle as we look at it from the back of the main stand. Celtic in a change, yellow top, green shorts and yellow socks take their place around the centre circle. Listen to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. This is Kilmarnock against Celtic as the teams change ends for this first half. And Nick Walsh prepares to get us underway here. It will be the home side to kick us off. And David Watson, who came on to score a late equaliser against Celtic at Celtic Park last season. 2 wins and a draw against Celtic for Killie last season. Not too many teams can boast a record as impressive as that, but they did go down by 4-0 earlier in the season, on the opening day actually, as Celtic began the season as they have gone on. Highly impressive performances both domestically and in Europe for the most part from Brendan Rodgers' side. So we're underway as Watson goes back to Ndaba, who's starting by the looks of it at left centre back with Robbie Dees there as well. We were asking ourselves a question, would it be a 3 or a 4 at the back for Kilmarnock today? They warmed up, I can tell you, with a 4, and it does look like they've started with a 4 with Lewis Mayo on the right, Joe Wright and Corey Ndaba the centre backs, and Robbie Dees. Stephen Derek McInnes always keeps us guessing. It looks like that's what he's going for.
It looks like it. He's still got me guessing. I'm still trying to kind of work it out here. Ndaba looks as if he's stepping into midfield at times as well, so whether they're going with the man for man straight from the start.
Callum McGregor back to Austin Trusty, who himself is playing right centre back in the absence of Cameron Carter-Vickers. Liam Scales coming in and taking his place at left centre back. We've got 2 lefties in the heart of the Celtic defence. Here's Alistair Johnston out to the right hand side for the man in real sparkling form, Nicholas Kuhn, but he's lost out. Matty Kennedy picking up, trying to go down the left hand side, but Johnston equal to it. Little flick there from Engels, beautiful stuff. Now it's Kuhn accelerating forward into the Kilmarnock half, up towards the edge of the penalty area, slips it looking for Ida, but Joe Wright was there to intercept. Not a great pass in the end from Kuhn, and Kilmarnock try and get it forward. Kennedy's gone down off the ball as Watkins does battle there with Scales and chases his own ball forward. It's Watkins down at the corner flag on the left-hand side. He's done really well to keep a hold of possession, then finds the pass for Watson, who loses out to Hatate, with the referee also rather getting in the way there. And Johnson digs out the clearance, flicked on by Kuhn for Ida. Ida can't keep a hold of it, and Donnelly back to Lewis Mayo, and a chance to get the early thoughts of Pat Nevin just shortly. But Kyle Vassell's got a good ball across the face of goal. No Kilmarnock player there up in support, and Trusty knocks it away. Not out of play though, as Kilmarnock try and keep it alive. Watson got his head to the ball, claims he was caught. I don't think he actually was, although there was a relatively high boot. It'll be a Celtic throw, and we played a couple of minutes. Pat Nevin, and it's Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 0.
Yeah, quite lively start from Kyle. A ball played across the centre of the pitch there, but Celtic quite dangerous to do that. Really is interesting what Derek McInnes has done, isn't it? And Daba's actually gone a little bit too far forward, and he caught out already. Yeah,
here's Engels into the penalty area, right hand side, and Daba trying to get back with him. He is pretty quick player in Daba himself, and he recovers well to knock it out of play on the far side.
He's been asked to take care of Engels, hasn't he? But the looks of things right at the start here, and you think everyone was talking about Kuhn at the start of the game, you know, and certainly after the other night there, but that's what Daba's been asked to do. Interesting the way it's set up.
I don't think you could call it. You couldn't really call it a set formation. I think it's quite a fluid formation and out of possession. That Nicholas Kuhn can do that. He can take the man-for-man system out, but he glides past people, and probably should have done better with the opportunity before.
I don't think there's another manager in the Premiership that I can think of that kind of gives so much thought to these tactical setup than Derek McInnes.
It's just as long as the players are up to it and they don't switch off. It's easy to switch off when you have more things to do. If you have a simple set system, it's okay, you just do your job, you know your position. But if it's an adaptable one like this, it just needs you to switch off once, and an intelligent player against you, and you're in trouble.
Plenty of intelligent players in this Celtic lineup. Here's Dyson Maida as he knocks it forward for Taylor. Taylor up against his former side, sends it to the back post. Kuhn gets his head to it, it's just over Engels, and it's cleared away by Lyons. Vassell trying to get the better of Trusty, but Trusty able to get it to Scales on the halfway line, and he goes all the way back to Kasper Schmeichel just at the edge of his penalty area, who quickly rolls it back to Austin Trusty, the American centre-back, plays it forward for Engels, whose exquisite pass for the Kuhn equaliser the other night, which in itself was a thing of beauty. We had a brilliant view of it, Pat, right behind that curling effort from Nicholas Kuhn that came off the far post and in behind to set the comeback on its way. Here comes Celtic forward on the left-hand side. It's Maida in for Ida. Oh, Ida's got to do better from 7 yards. He had a time probably to take a touch. He tried to take it first time. It was just behind him in the end. Robbie McCrory able to gather pretty comfortably. 4.5 played. Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 0.
Do you know, oddly, last season in the 5-0 game, that is exactly the position where Kilmarnock were done time and again. Kept on getting to the byline on the left-hand side and getting crosses across. So I think Brendan Rodgers has not forgotten that.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Lewis Mayo up against Dyson Maida on a few occasions now, and he copes with them almost as well as anyone, but only needs once or twice for him to get away and create the kind of havoc he almost did there. And Aramida just taking snatching at the shot. He scored after 5 minutes actually in that 5-0 victory to set Celtic on the road to a title party, and he perhaps should have done better there as Taylor plays it to Trusty. Trusty back to Schmeichel, and Schmeichel gets it back to Trusty once more, with Matty Kennedy looking to close them both down, but both players actually in the end, Trusty and Schmeichel, trusting their own touch to get away with the pass back to the goalkeeper.
If you're a keeper, you don't want that zipped at you straight between the post and it bouncing like a pace, but they must trust Kasper Schmeichel's touch.
Looked like a foul there by Ida on right, but nothing given by Nick Walsh, and it's out to the right-hand side. Kuhn back to Ida, right-hand side of the penalty area, but McCrory will dive on that as the cross was blocked or semi-blocked, and the former Rangers goalkeeper all in red today for Kilmarnock. Make sure there's no further danger. We played 6 minutes at Rugby Park, and the sun shining down in Ayrshire on this still pretty mild November afternoon. You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. We'll have Rangers Hearts at 5 o'clock. Team news from that one at half-time in this one. And Kilmarnock have won themselves a free kick midway inside the Celtic half. An opportunity here because they have got a number of aerial threats. All of the back four actually could provide that, although it looks like Lewis Mayo is going to stay back for this one, but the rest of them making their way up towards the edge of the Celtic penalty area as Kilmarnock look to strike first. And you would imagine that if they're to take anything from the game, that is pretty key to it, albeit they did come from behind to win that one back in December. As Matty Kennedy stands over this free kick, right hand side, as I say, midway inside the Celtic half, makes a signal and then sends it in. Vassell, it's over him, almost. Schmeichel actually just boots it clear as it came back to him off a Celtic player, and Kilmarnock have just knocked it out of play. Lewis Mayo with a loose attempted ball forward, and it's out for a Celtic throw-in, but Schmeichel probably just could have grabbed that, but he dealt with it pretty well anyway.
He's so calm, he's so confident with the ball at his feet. It's like nothing bothers him in terms of the balls coming fast at his feet. But I don't know if Robbie Dees just didn't get a decent view of it. It was a brilliant ball in from Matt Kennedy, almost pitch perfect, and it was like it caught him by surprise and he just wasn't ready for it.
Kasper Schmeichel, 38 now, just turned 38, I think on Tuesday it was actually, as he celebrated with that victory over RB Leipzig. Here's Ndaba to his right to Mayo. Mayo fires it forward looking for Vassell. Vassell playing on Liam Scales here on the right hand side as Kelly come forward. Still Vassell plays it off Scales, throw in to Kilmarnock down near the corner flag as they attack down the right. 8 minutes played, no goals as yet, but it doesn't look like it's going to be one of these kind of games where Celtic absolutely run away with it. I hesitate to say that too early from a Kilmarnock point of view, but Kilmarnock look right up for this one.
Brave, actually, a really brave start for Kilmarnock. Yeah, they are leaving the two up. Asked the question before the game. Yeah, they are leaving the two up. They're going man for man at the back quite a lot as well, so quite open, very brave.
Watson, long throw in to the edge of the 6-yard box, headed away, or only half away, and that's going to be kept in by Lyons. Flashes it into the near post, blocked away by McGregor, and Celtic eventually clear their lines through. Engels, Watson trying to keep it in, but will be a Celtic throw-in the end. But Lyons there just trying to find a teammate at the near post, but it was McGregor in the way, otherwise it could have worked out well for Kilmarnock. 0-0 as it stands after almost 9 minutes at Rugby Park. But Taylor takes the throw-in into Ida. Ida just lays it off to Maida. All of Ida's goals this season have come as a substitute. He's looking to change that this afternoon. He hasn't had all that many opportunities from the start, but he's got 5 goals to his name in Celtic colours since joining permanently from Norwich in the summer. Taylor with the latest throw-in into Ida once more. Midway inside the Celtic half, tries to spin away from his man, but Lyons just knocks it out of play, and it'll be another Celtic throw-in, left-hand side, midway inside their own half. Taylor, this time into Maida, who handballs it right in front of the referee, and it's going to be a free kick to Kelly on the halfway line, just right of centre.
Probably slightly the better side, Kilmarnock, I would say, just in these early stages, a little bit more of the play. But for Celtic, you know, if there's big gaps to run into, you're talking about Ida not scoring from starting positions, he knows there's gaps behind that defence that he can run into. This is a game made for him.
Liam Donnelly over this free kick, just a few yards inside Celtic territory, angles it to the far side, won by Joe Wright, knocks it down to Vassell. Vassell is one of Adam Ida's stayed down. Oh, there's a free kick being very belatedly given there by Nick Walsh, and Joe Wright is going to get a word here at least from Nick Walsh. I mean, I have to say I didn't see much wrong with the jump, but he's maybe caught Adam Ida in the face, and Kasper Schmeichel's calling for the Celtic visit. It's a yellow card for Joe Wright, who's already been sent off twice this season, and an early yellow card for him to deal with for that challenge in Adam Ida.
Yeah, we've not got a good view of it. There's certainly the Celtic players are showing a bit of concern from Adam Ida, waving the physios on. So you imagine that there's been blood. What Pat said about the bravery of the Kilmarnock players, it's so brave, but they're going to have to be pitch perfect in the midfield battle, because Kuhn and Ida, they're almost standing man for man at the halfway line with a whole half of the pitch to go in. If Rio Hatate or Cal McGregor get a split second to get their head up, then that ball, it's an easy one for players of that quality. So they're going to have to be absolutely pitch perfect with a man in the midfield.
It's what you want if you're a forward, loving the idea that you're man to man and loving the idea that there's space to run into, you know. So yep, pitch perfect, you have to get everything right, but maybe you're at home, you know, tried it other ways, it's not worked against Celtic at the end of last season. We're going to try it this way now. We're having another little look at this now. To be honest, I don't think you can argue.
Flailing arm, isn't it?
You can't
It's
argue
not an
with
elbow.
Yeah, I don't think you can argue with a yellow card for that at all. If you go up, because there's been a movement in his arm, I'm not saying he's doing it deliberately, but there's a movement in his arm, that's dangerous. And I think he's taking the right dunk there.
Don Robertson is the VAR, and he's had a look at it. He is content with the yellow. Our pitchside reporter Martin Dowden's also had a look at it. Martin, would you quibble with what you've heard and seen from the others?
I usually do, but on this occasion I won't. Joe Wright obviously goes up, he raises his arms as he jumps, he does catch him full on the face with that elbow. It's interesting he got a yellow card for it though, that what the referee's interpretation of that is, but I don't think the intent was there to actually catch him.
I like that you were doing the actions there as you were describing that as well. It's really helpful for the audience and good fun for us watching you a few rows down. Adam Mida is still getting a bit of attention there, so he's clearly taken a bit of damage from that flailing arm by Joe Wright in the face, and Joe Wright is going to have to be ultra careful now for the remainder of this game. 12.5 play, or 12.5 on the clock. We've had a 2 or 3 minute stoppage here. He was sent off for 2 yellows in 16 minutes against St Johnstone, and then a straight red against St Mirren in September, for which he had to miss 3 games. And Derek McInnes speaking to Martin before the game and underlining the absolute necessity to keep 11 men on the park today, as Adam Mida continues to receive treatment. Obviously Kyogo is a ready-made replacement, but Brendan Rodgers won't want to be forced into a change this early. Hopefully Adam Mida can recover.
It's quite clear the nose is bleeding and it's not stopping.
Yeah.
So because of that, you know, they'll give him a certain amount of time, but eventually he's going to have to go off to the side and let the game go on. It's not his fault. I mean, he's the one that took the hit. But it's not a pleasant one. But as you say, Kyogo's warming up behind the goals in front of the Celtic supporters there just now. Not a bad one. But talking about, you know, that physicality, I mean, that's for me an absolute stick-on yellow card, and they would have considered a red. They would have considered it a red for that one. But you know, stop the on-field decision. But you have to be physical when you're playing against Celtic. If you're meek and stand off it, you're just going to get run over. So, but there's a level of physicality you can go, and I think they went beyond it there.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to say that Adam Mida is back on his feet, and he doesn't have to leave the field of play, having received treatment, because the player that fouled him was yellow carded for that. So he's immediately involved again as he takes his place up field as Kasper Schmeichel prepares to take the free kick from the edge of his own penalty to the right hand side for Engels, who just flicks it on with the head. A couple of Kilmarnock players going for the same ball. Eventually Robbie Dees takes charge and hooks it forward, and it's Vassell leaving it to Kennedy, left hand side. He then in turn finds Vassell on the left flank, tracked by Trusty, who's sticking close to him. Vassell is challenged. That's going to go behind for a corner by all of the referees. Points for a goal kick. Well, the home fans are up in arms, because that looked to me like a fairly obvious Celtic boot that challenged Kyle Vassell, knocked it behind, and the referee didn't spot that, or I'm wrong. And
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong at all there. It looked like a very clear corner kick, and the reaction of the players usually tells something. The Killie players were shocked.
I think Alistair Johnson gave the corner as well. I think he kicked it over for the corner to be taken.
Exactly.
Flick on there by Ida, who looks to have recovered it. Ndaba, brilliant run from Ndaba, 30 yards from goal. He goes from goal, Schmeichel parries it. Vassell can't get onto it, comes back to Ndaba. It was a good strike on the left boot there from 30 yards. Schmeichel able to get it away to safety. Kennedy now tries to help it into the area. Maida's first 2 on the edge of the box. Engels now looking to find Ida, but Donnell is there first. He just knocks it high in the air. Scales goes and wins the aerial battle. Ndaba again first 2. Then Johnston gets it to McGregor, and Hatate fires it forward, looking to release Ida or Maida, but Mayo is in the way, and Lyons picks up on the halfway line. Terrific run and effort there by Ndaba, but Schmeichel equal to it. 16 minutes in, and it's Kilmarnock 0, Celtic nil as the ball's still in play. It's Maida, left-hand side, knocked out by Mayo. Good effort that from Daba.
Do you know what? And Daba's loving it, isn't he? Because he's, usually be a left back, he'd come in at left centre back sometimes. But today he's been asked to do that other role. He's going to walk into that midfield area, allowed to go forward from that position. Pep Guardiola does that with his team a lot of the time. But he is not a player who's worried about it. He is loving it. And that time is 35 yards out, but it's still testing Schmeichel.
I mean, Schmeichel made a good save, but he was in some ways a little bit fortunate because it went straight back out, didn't go to the side, and a little bit lucky that it fell not to a Kilmarnock player that was able to do anything with it.
Schmeichel's not used to the conditions, is he? I don't think he'll often have played on this sort of pitch. So what he's done every time the ball's come to him is just get away as far as possible, as quickly as possible.
Here's Maida, left-hand side. Mayo makes the challenge, comes back off Maida, and that's going to be a Kilmarnock throw in midway inside their own half, right-hand side as they come forward. You listen to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland.
It's going to be very hard for Kilmarnock to keep up this tempo. I mean, as we spoke about, they are not letting Celtic players get their heads up. They're so on them every time that one of the Celtic players tries to play a pass, and probably when the game's like this they might have to score while they're so on top. They're putting so much into this half so far.
Daba looking to lift that over the top for Kennedy. There's just too much in the pass, but the guys are absolutely right. And Daba is, you can see him, he's following Engels, coming out of that back four to track him whenever Celtic are in possession. But it is also allowing him to step forward when Kilmarnock get possession, and he is relishing that particular role just at the moment.
It's actually one of my favourite tactical things I've seen in the Scottish game this season. Yeah, it's really, really brave. They're going man to man. They absolutely believe and trust in the defenders there, and he is core to it, Daba. He has to get on the ball when he can, and at the moment, I do say I think they are the better side. It's early days yet, but Kilmarnock have been the lighter side. One thing on the line, of course, Kilmarnock didn't have a game in midweek. So they've got that aid as well.
Yeah.
I want to know how the analysts put it up in their dressing room. Is it the old Championship managers where there's arrows going everywhere? I think Mbada's arrows right up to the forward line.
I mean, I guess from Derek McInnes' point of view, it's something different that he's trying. I mean, you might as well, as a manager, knowing that the likelihood is that Celtic are going to come here and win, and of course he's got history of actually beating them here, but you might as well try something and it might just work for you.
Yeah, but we know about 5s and 6s and 7s can happen.
Yeah.
And you've gone man to man with 3 absolutely magnificent strikers that Celtic have got. That's big, that's brave.
Donnelly all the way back from the halfway line to McCrory, who knocks it first time back over the halfway line. Johnston will pick up for Celtic and feed it down the right hand side. They're coming together in the middle of the park, and it is those two, Engels and Daba. Nothing given as a result of that, and it's gone out of play over on the far side. It'll be a Kilmarnock throw-in about 30 yards from their own corner flag on the left hand side. Robbie Dees to take this. We've played 19 minutes at Rugby Park, 19 goalless minutes so far, but the home side probably just edging it, and Kasper Schmeichel being forced into a good save from Corey and Daba just a few minutes ago. At the other end, Robbie McCrory will probably have been relieved not to have to make much of a save from an Adam Ida chance early on, and that's about as much as Celtic have mustered. But Kilmarnock won't be counting their chickens just yet. They know that they probably do have to take advantage of this period of superiority as Kuhn picks up for Celtic right hand side, plays a short ball into the feet of Hatate. He's harried and hassled there by Liam Donnelly, and forcing the Japanese midfielder to go back to the halfway line for Trusty. Square for Scales, and Scales gets his head up and tries to play a ball inside of Mayo for Maida, but it's cut out by the fullback, who immediately then plays it forward for Vassell down the right hand side up against Scales, who's been dragged out. Back comes Taylor to help. It's now Lyons takes a touch and gets away. It's a good ball in, but just beyond Marley Watkins, who was in the middle, and no one at the back post, and it's gone out on the far side for a Celtic throw, and quickly taken by Alistair Johnston to his captain Callum McGregor. McGregor on the goal line almost, under pressure from Watson, gets it to Johnston. Johnston's clearance falls to Vassell. Now it's Donnelly, goes back the way to Ndaba, who's in a pretty advanced position again. In fact, he's playing left wing just at the moment, and he hammers the ball off Arne Engels, and it's out for a throw-in on the far side. Engels taking a sore one there. Yeah, I mean, Corey Ndaba is absolutely all over the place right now.
Do you know what? Engels has not been enjoying the game so far against Ndaba. And he's enjoying it a hell of a lot less. What's just happened there. It's getting a really, really sore one. I think the phrase is amidships. So he's in a lot of pain. I think Celtic are struggling a little bit to get out just now. I mean, I agree completely, Stephen. You've got to make hay while the sun shines here. It feels as if Kilmarnock having a great period of the game, but they've got to get some clearer cut chances.
It's Watson lining up the long throw, this time from the left-hand side as Engels recovers and takes his place in the penalty area. In comes the throw in from the left. It's Trusty gets his head to it. Then Ida on the penalty spot and helped on by Kuhn. Maida will go and chase that, and Daba, though, is first to it and just turns it back all the way, in fact, to McCrory, who's just out at the edge of his penalty area, just backpedals slightly, and then takes a touch and knocks it down the right hand side. He's looking for Ndaba, who's taken up a position on the right hand side, and it's over him and out for a Celtic throw in. 2 balls in the pitch momentarily. Maida kicks the spare one off as Scales gets it back to Schmeichel, edge of his own penalty area. Schmeichel once more on the penalty spot, the Dane out to the right hand side for Trusty, and then back once more to Schmeichel, edge of his box, plays it up to the halfway line for Ida. Ida just nudges it back to Engels. Engels out to Taylor, halfway line, left hand side. Lovely return ball. Ida trying to take it in his stride. Joe Wright had matched him. Across came Robbie Dees just to knock it out of play in his near side. Good covering from the fullback there as Taylor almost released Ida with a wonderful pass. And it's going to be a throw in to Celtic at the midway point in this first half, down near the corner flag left hand side. Taylor gets it back from Maida. Maida once more, the bleach blonde hair into Alistair Johnson at the edge of the box. Now Ida goes all the way back midway inside the Killie half to Trusty. Trusty out to Kuhn, who's been kept quiet thus far, but the form he's on, you daren't leave him alone for a minute. Here's Trusty, more or less in the halfway line, plays it square to Scales and then gets it back. Ball forward for Engels. Engels back to Johnston, just inside his own half, out to the right for Kuhn. Kuhn, first time ball on, is to no one in particular other than Robbie McCrory. And Kilmarnock will be well pleased with the way things are going, not so much Brendan Rodgers. I just wonder, how difficult do you think it is to have played such a huge match in midweek, and incredible atmosphere, the energy that goes into that, to then have to lift yourself again for what is, with the greatest of respect for Kilmarnock, a lesser game in many extents.
I don't know if it's hard to lift himself, it's just such a different set of problems.
Good challenge there from right on. Ida had to get that spot on, and he didn't. Kilmarnock work it up to the halfway line. Watson pinches it off McGregor. Now it's Lyons trying to find. That's a brilliant ball for Vassell. Vassell inside the penalty, left hand side. Early ball into the box. Watkins doesn't get there. Watson does, but he can't angle it on target. It's well off target in the end from the young midfielder. A terrific break there from Kilmarnock. But after 24 minutes, it's still Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 0.
Unbelievable pass there from Brad Lyons. He's almost put a bit of fade on it, right into the path of Vassell, and I think Marley Watkins probably is the first big opportunity just over him, and young David Watson just can't make proper contact on it. But really good counter-attack from Kilmarnock.
Do you know one of the exciting things about Kilmarnock in this game so far? When they get into the box, there's 4 or 5 in there. Even if it's a quick break, the amount of players that are breaking a leg to get into that box there. Again, energy levels have been fantastic so far, but it is early days, only 25 minutes gone.
Here's Trusty, just outside his own penalty area, plays it into Taylor and then gets it back once more. Leaves it to Alistair Johnston. Johnston back to Trusty once more. Kilmarnock have got half a dozen players inside the Celtic half here, trying to press Celtic pretty high. Maida flicks it on for Ida. Ida almost inadvertently gets it back into the path of Maida, but Mayo goes back and then tries to block Maida off as he plays it back to McCrory. McCrory able to clear long up towards Vassell, gets a flick on, but no Kilmarnock player close enough to take advantage, and it's all the way through to Schmeichel, who just touches it to Trusty and then out to the right hand side for Johnston, into Engels, closely marked again by Ndaba. Dees went diving in there and he's missed out, and Kuhn can break down the right hand side. Celtic getting bodies into the box in support. Good covering there by Donnelly. It had to be, knocks it behind for a corner. Kuhn not able to take advantage of that slip there by Robbie Dees. And it will be a Celtic corner though. 26 almost played. Still Killie 0, Celtic 0.
It's a rare break forward for Celtic, isn't it, in this first quarter of the game, but you know they're always dangerous when they get there, and of course because they're up man against man every time they break, they're going to get opportunities, Celtic.
Short corner taken. Kuhn now for McGregor. McGregor goes for goal. Oh, it's a fingertip save, I think, from Robbie McCrory there. And it goes down as a very good one, because that looked like it was heading on target, with the keeper throwing himself to the right-hand side to tip it around the corner and deny Callum McGregor the opening goal here. Best effort, certainly, from a Celtic player in the game so far.
By some distance, I would suggest. But, you know, you're not going to get the entirety of the game if you're any team, but particularly against Celtic. And they really whisked it across. Keeper had it covered, but it shows the intent is there.
The kind of distance and range from that Callum McGregor scored 2 or 3 from already this season, as Engels lines up this corner kick on the left-hand side. The referee has spotted a bit of pulling and pushing in there that he wants to iron out before the corner kick is taken. It's Kyle Vassell who's been spoken to. Probably just a reminder that any shirt pulling in there will be closely watched by both Nick Walsh himself and Don Robertson in the VAR. Important that we mention Don Robertson as often as possible, even though he is only the VAR, because Richard Gordon keeps count of how many times I say his name in the course of a commentary. It's another corner for Celtic. The initial one is not behind at the near post, and Engels will get another go at it. Kilmarnock got 2 players over to try and prevent the short corner being taken. Hatate's looking at the edge of the box. The short corner is taken to Kuhn, and it's made its way to Hatate, and then back to Engels, left hand side, curls it in, headed away by Donnelly. McGregor will tidy up, slightly loose pass back to Johnston. Johnston has it though now midway inside his own half, and just rolls it back to Kasper Schmeichel as Kilmarnock just try and bring themselves up the park a little bit. Schmeichel back to Johnston, forcing him to scamper across to the right hand side, and then it's back again with the Danish veteran in goal. Such a wonderful career. He's had well over 100 caps for his country. As he plays the ball out, and Matty Kennedy just unable to make the interception there. Engels does pick up on the halfway line into the feet of Ida. Poor first touch from the Irishman. David Watson slips as he tries to step in. Greg Taylor able to get on the end of that, and now it's Ida, left hand side, steps away from Watson, making his way towards the edge of the penalty area, tries to go for goal, and he does go for goal, and McCrory goes down to his right once more. This time he's able to smother the ball. It didn't really have the power to test the goalkeeper. It did have the accuracy, but not the power to really trouble McCrory, and it's still, after 28.5 minutes, Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 0.
I think the big chance there was Arnie Engels has got to play in Nicholas Kuhn. He's got the other side of Robbie Dees. That's the opportunity. Kilmarnock have dropped Engels for the first time in the game. If he sees that in any way, he has to play him in. Ultimately, it's good footwork from Adam Ida, but never going to cause Robbie McCrory any trouble.
Up the other end we go. It's Kilmarnock to try and apply a bit of pressure again in the Celtic back line, but McGregor thumps it clear, and Joe Wright will just nod that back to Robbie McCrory inside his own penalty area. As we approach the half-hour mark, no goals. You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. The first of 2 big games in the Premiership today. Rangers Hearts to come at 5 o'clock. Full commentary of that one to follow this, as both sides requiring the 3 points in that one for different reasons. As Vassell gets a snapshot away at the near post, Kasper Schmeichel goes down. Might just have been creeping slightly wide or even hitting the upright, but Schmeichel gets down to gather it, as Vassell just took advantage of a little knockdown into his path and got the shot off, but again didn't really ever look like it was going to overly trouble the Celtic goalkeeper on that occasion.
And strikers for you though. Don't think one touch smack towards the goals in these conditions. It's always worth it, because it can come off a goalkeeper, and as long as you've got another striker, which Kilmarnock have, who's following up, you just never know. It's probably worth it.
Scales with it, midway inside his own half, back to Trusty, and now out to the right hand side for Johnston. Johnston spots Engels in the centre circle. His first time ball's a poor one. He was looking for Kuhn, but he found Dees instead, and he gets it forward to Kennedy, who's been closely watched by Johnston. Back with Dees, and then forward for Watkins. Watkins up against Trusty here. Trusty's claiming for a handball, and I think he has a case, but it's been ignored by the referee, and it's going to be a Kilmarnock throw-in instead. Left hand side, midway inside the Celtic half. 15 minutes left in this opening period, plus there'll be a bit of stoppage time added on, at least for the Ida injury early on. Probably at least 3 minutes will come as a result of that. as the ball's out to the right hand side. Kilmarnock pick up possession through Lyons, who gets the better of Taylor, flicked on by Watkins, but to no great advantage for Kilmarnock, and it's all the way out to the far side, picked up by Kuhn, back in a defensive position for the moment to the edge of his penalty area for McGregor. And now Trusty will help on to Scales, midway inside his own half, checks back and plays it to Trusty once more, about 30 yards from his own goal. Now the Canadian international Alistair Johnston, and Trusty once more, not being pressed just at the moment, as Kilmarnock just allows Celtic to have the ball deep in their own territory. Scales back to Trusty. Schmeichel makes himself available if required, but Trusty just brings it up towards the centre circle and then plays it into the feet of Aramida, who's trying to entice Joe Wright forward with him. Johnston gets it back to Trusty again. It's on the edge of the centre circle in Celtic's half, forward for Ida once more. Good challenge there from Ndaba, who's right on his heels there, and almost won it for Kilmarnock. He's having a terrific game in that slightly different position from his normal one, but playing really well in this opening half an hour. Still 0-0 though between Kilmarnock and Celtic. Hattati gets the pass off. He was just clipped there by Donnelly as he made the pass, but play allowed to continue, and Hattati gets it back from Johnson. He was absolutely fabulous in midweek against RB Leipzig, and here he is breaking the lines for Celtic up towards the penalty area, just overruns it, and Joe Wright able to step in. Watson's clearance comes off McGregor. Kilmarnock get a second bite at clearing it. Crude challenge by Maida, and Vassell will do well to avoid a yellow for that. The Japanese winger, I think he is going to avoid it. Just a talking to from Nick Walsh, but the pressure eased as Maida does offer his apology to Vassell. 32.5 played, Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 0.
It was an important free kick to win from Kyle Vassell. It was the first spell in the game. Kilmarnock look as if they've just had a deep breath. Celtic are starting to find the spare man, run off their man. I think the pitch it just runs away from Rio Hattati in the end, but decent enough spell, get your breath back, and a really important period for Kilmarnock. After a really strong half an hour, can you get into half time and see this through?
Long from McCrory, nodded back to his goalkeeper by Scales. Schmeichel all in green, comes to the edge of his penalty area, thinks about bowling it out underarm, then thinks better of it, and now goes long up to Aramida. Wonderful, not even, I can't even describe it as a clearance, it's a pass out of his arms, volleying it forward for Ida. Celtic come forward down the right hand side, but it's cut out by Wright. Ndaba under a bit of pressure here from Engels, who has had to cope with the presence of Ndaba throughout the game. McGregor trying to spin away from Watson, but the young man gets the better of the Celtic skipper, tries to play it forward down the left hand side, but it's come off a Kilmarnock player and out for a throw-in over on the far side to Celtic. Quickly taken, McGregor getting it back from Scales, and then it's Scales once more into Taylor, midway inside his own half. Served Kilmarnock well for a number of years, 131 appearances before moving to Celtic back in the summer of 2019, and equally served Celtic very well since then. Here's Scales down the left hand side now for Celtic, leaves it to Maida, midway inside Kilmarnock territory, back for Hattati. Celtic just look to try and grow into this game and grab the opening goal. It's back with Trusty on the halfway line. Again he finds Hattati with a short pass out to the right hand side now for Kuhn, who's forced back the way by Dees. Now Trusty, halfway line, it's Scales, thinks about just playing it back to Trusty, and in the end he does do that, just inside his own half. Trusty out to the right hand side for Johnston. Kilmarnock just dropping a little deeper there as Engels and Donnelly come together. The referee says there was nothing in that. Engels is furious, felt his shirt was being pulled as he hit the deck there, but neither the assistant over on the far side nor Nick Walsh saw anything wrong with that, and so it's back in the possession of Robbie McCrory. 10 until the interval, and certainly in terms of regulation time, and it's still goalless here between Kilmarnock and Celtic at Rugby Park.
I would say that last minute is the first time Celtic have looked like Celtic, you know, controlling the ball, holding it in midfield, dominating the play a little bit, but it didn't come to anything. But they probably need to do a bit more of that, and you can see Callum McGregor now, he's gone back between the centre backs now to get the ball, because he knows that his team needs to get a little bit more control in that midfield.
Hattati's poor pass had been cut out by Watson. Vassell finds Donnelly, chance here for Watkins off the post and behind off Johnston for a corner. So close to the opener for Marley Watkins, who got that winner against Rangers here last month and almost opens the scoring. Kilmarnock cutting Celtic open, but Watkins was just inches away from the perfect finish.
An unbelievable move from Kilmarnock. I thought he'd scored. Marley Watkins, the angle, it looked like it was going in. The one thing I would say, Kasper Schmeichel has made it so hard for him. He's spread himself. He's made Marley Watkins just think about it a bit more. It comes off the post and Celtic take no chances and corner Kilmarnock.
Corner kick to be taken from the Killie left as Kilmarnock come as close as anyone has to opening the scoring. Marley Watkins denied by the upright after clipping it over Schmeichel. It's always just heading away as the corner comes in, back post. Schmeichel gets a good fist to it. Not entirely clear. Hatate slips inside the penalty. He can't get it clear. Somehow gets his head to it on the ground. It's pinched back though by Kilmarnock. They get the shot away, they can, but it's off target again from Watkins from about 16 yards. Can't test Schmeichel on that occasion. And so after a flurry of Kilmarnock pressure, it's still Killie nil, Celtic nil.
Yeah, but they've reacted really well, haven't they, Kilmarnock, after that little period there. I have to echo what Stephen was saying there about Schmeichel. He didn't save that, but it was the Schmeichel patent, be it father, be it son, out there, star, make it very, very difficult and make the centre forward think a little bit. He's still unlucky to hit the post there. It could have bounced back in and into the goal. So I'd say that's the best chance of the game so far, and it's fallen to Kilmarnock.
And it came within Celtic's best spell in the game. I think Rio Hatate just tries to flick one round the corner with his left foot, and it gave Kilmarnock encouragement. And within two passes, Marley Watkins was clean through in goal. So I think Celtic will take a lot of confidence from that 5 minutes and almost, as you say, are playing like Celtic again, but can't allow for any slack moments. Kilmarnock will punish them.
But it was the kind of move that Kilmarnock put together there that you've seen Celtic produce on numerous occasions, but it was real quality, wasn't it?
I would totally agree with that. I mean, they have been the better side. They've been more up for it in this first half. They've had more of the play, and now they're back into the final third again.
Here's Vassell turning away from Johnston out to the left of the box from Matty Kennedy. Back comes Kuhn, slightly clumsy challenge. Nick Walsh says nothing doing in terms of claims for a foul, be it free kick or penalty. Not sure exactly where that would have taken place, but Kennedy was certainly clumsily challenged, it looked, by Kuhn coming back to try and help his defence. No ongoing check, so there's nothing wrong with the challenge in the end. But
by the way, that's a very unusual thing we've just seen there. The assistant referee is 100% sure it's a throw into Kilmarnock, and he's right beside the ball. The referee just ignored them completely. Said no, Celtic's.
Yeah, he's giving it to Celtic.
He's the man that makes decisions.
Engels has gone down off the ball again. The assistant's right next to that. Now the throw-in was taken, and Nick Walsh is going across there to have a word with Robbie Dees, and will be the outcome here. I'm not sure the ball was actually in play by the time Engels went down, so it looks like it's just going to be a retake of the throw-in the end, and just a word in the ear there of Dees from the referee. So Celtic have the throw-in, more or less in line with the 18-yard box of Kilmarnock, right-hand side, to be taken by Johnston. About 6 minutes left of the 45 plus stoppage time as Ida tries to get the better of Watson. Battling away there also is Watkins, and then Dees stumps it clear over the halfway line. Vassell will try and keep it in play, won't be able to do so. Celtic get the throw-in, quickly taken by Trusty for Scales. Scales has Taylor here on the left-hand side. Infield he comes up towards the centre circle. 0-0 between Killie and Celtic. A really good contest this, as Hatate picks up a loose ball in the middle of the park. Kilmarnock coming closest to an opening goal just a few minutes ago as Marley Watkins struck the post. Celtic not quite at their best as yet. That's partly because of the way Kilmarnock are playing. The Scales gets out to the left-hand side for Maida. Maida quickly closed down by the hard-working Mayo. He has to go back the way to Scales, and Scales in turn back to Schmeichel on the penalty spot here. Out to the left-hand side for Taylor. Taylor midway inside his own half, looking for options. He asks Ida to come into feet just inside the Kilmarnock half. Back once more with Taylor just inside the Celtic half. McGregor now on the edge of the centre circle, plays it square for Trusty. Cross goes Vassell to begin to close him down, but it passes away to Kuhn already. Back with McGregor on the halfway line. McGregor into the feet of Hatate. Hatate looks to spin away from Daba. The pass was just behind Kuhn there. There's a late lunging challenge there from Dees to make sure that Kilmarnock kept a hold of the ball. Maida goes in at the back of one of the Kilmarnock players who's gone down in a bit of pain there. I'm not sure who that is. It's on the receiving end of the challenge from Maida. It will be a free kick to Kilmarnock just outside their own penalty area, and Maida with a ticking off there from Nick Walsh.
You know what, I think they'll be happy with a little rest just now, Kilmarnock. You're beginning to see the tackles become a little bit more last-ditchy. You know, they have to make every tackle now, whereas before they were covering, they had a yard of space, they all knew what each other was doing. Now every tackle you must make it, and if you don't make it, Celtic are throwing them, and that's what happens as players get a little bit tired. As you put that amount of effort, then space will open up. As this game develops, it will open up. No game of football has ever been played where that does not happen, and you can begin to see it. So as Stephen was saying there, it almost feels about getting to the half-time if you're a Kilmarnock player just now.
Matty Kennedy it was who went down under Maida's challenge. He's back on his feet, didn't require treatment in the end. And it will be a free kick to Killie just outside their own penalty area, taken by McCrory. Long looking for Vassell. Vassell beaten in the jump by Johnston. Donnelly first to the loose ball, out to the left hand side, kept in by Kennedy, about 15 yards from the corner flag. Kennedy up against Johnston, little step over, ball to the back post. Back across goal from Lyons, cleared as far as Ndaba. Ndaba 30 yards from goal, plays it square to Mayo. Mayo out to the right hand side for Lyons, closed down by Taylor, tries to step away from him, low ball in, comes to Vassell. Vassell spins, comes off Trusty in behind for a corner. Well, that could have gone absolutely anywhere off the Celtic centre back. Might well have been hitting on target had it not hit him at all. It did, and it spins over the crossbar behind for a Kilmarnock corner. Killie nil, Celtic nil, 3 to play in the first half.
So dangerous, aren't they? Down the right hand side, just gets the ball, pins his ears back, goes to the back line, get it in there, and you've got 2 strikers in there. You've always got an opportunity, especially for their natural goal scorers. And I suspect that was going on target, and Kilmarnock again a bit unlucky there.
It's a brilliant spin and hit from Kyle Vassell, that's for sure, as Kennedy prepares to take the corner from the right hand side. Out swinger, not cleared initially, but Callum McGregor's able to scoop it clear up to the halfway line. One for Kuhn to chase, he gets his head to it first. Mayo though steps in and gets it to Watson midway inside his own half, tries the big diagonal. Kennedy, he's still limping a little bit from the effects of that Maida challenge just a few moments ago. He was coming back from an offside position, so he didn't go for it, and Celtic have possession on the halfway line through Engels. Engels out to the right hand side for Johnston. The champions looking for a breakthrough before the interval, but they've been really well matched by Kilmarnock, and they are once again, as Lyons picks up right hand side. He's short of support and he just tries to force it down the right hand side, comes off Taylor, cross comes Watson, and it came off Watson according to the assistant, who was only a few yards from it, rather than Scales, who the majority of the fans round about us felt it came off. That was a 50-50, a tough one to call from our vantage point, so we'll give the assistant the benefit of the doubt on that occasion. Here's Trusty at the back for Celtic. Sounds like there's going to be, I think, 4 minutes added on at the end of this first period, so we've still got 5 to play if that's the case. Poor pass back to Trusty there from Hatate, forcing him to race back to his own goal line now and allowing Kilmarnock to just bring the press up field a little bit. Another poor chest down there from Ida, and it's Kilmarnock coming forward. Vassell lays it back to Lyons. Lyons right hand side, looks to step away from Hatate. Hatate sticking with him, still it's Lyons. Maida coming to help, and Lyons trying to lay it back into the path of Mayo, can only roll it out of play. It'll be a Celtic throw-in midway inside their own half, left hand side, as the 4th official makes his way to the edges of the technical areas to indicate exactly how long will be added on at the end of this first period, as we tick towards the 45-minute mark. Celtic unable to find a way through. Kilmarnock have come closer to scoring than they have, hitting the post through Marley Watkins, but it's still 0-0. You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. Our first of our 2 commentaries. Vassell limping back the way as well. I don't know quite what he's done to himself, but he'll want to try and get through to half time and get some treatment on whatever that is. 4 minutes confirmed by the 4th official down there, as Celtic have it right hand side. Johnston into Taylor, who's taken up a central position, and now out to Scales, who comes forward almost in a left back position. Now it's Maida left hand side, looks to drop the shoulder and get away from Mayo, hits the byline, cuts it back, knocked behind. Actually out of play on this near side by Ndaba, back doing the covering at the near post. Good play though from Maida to get away from Mayo for more or less the first time. It's out on the left hand side. Taylor with the back heel for Engels. Engels left footed, crosses into the arms of Robbie McCrory. Comfortable take from the Kelly keeper, and it's still into injury time. Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 0.
Do you know what? Kilmarnock need to survive now. This is going to feel like a long 3 or 4 minutes because they've got 2 walking wounded. You cannot have walking wounded when you're playing man to man the level they are doing just now. So they're really struggling to survive this last little bit because both players just aren't moving well at all. And Celtic can smell that. They'll sniff that.
Here's Johnston into the middle of the park for Hattati, who's got Donnelly right in his back, but he slips it to McGregor, who's made a burst forward and lost Watson momentarily. Now he gets it out to Kuhn, right hand side, cutting infield. He'll look to get the shot off if he possibly can. Curls it in towards the back post. I think he was actually looking for Ida more than looking to go for goal there, and Ida couldn't get a meaningful touch on it, and it's all the way behind for a goal kick. As Kuhn, every time he picks up in that position, you just wonder, is he going to produce another fabulous finish as he did on Tuesday?
That's a game for Celtic. It's how can they get Nicholas Kuhn in the game. Anytime he's had the ball, he looks so dangerous. His runs off the ball, I think that'll be the big message from Brendan Rodgers. Do not miss the opportunity to feed him in, because his runs are brilliant and he's looking so dangerous, playing with so much confidence. That's a game for Celtic.
Clearance made on the goal kick there from Robbie McCrory, but Lyons penalised for his challenge on Greg Taylor there. So it'll be a Celtic free kick midway inside their own half. Midway left hand side from Scales, takes it to McGregor, and now Trusty closed down by Watkins. Vassell looks like he's moving a little bit more freely than he was a minute or so ago. As Kuhn picks up and comes in from the right, more or less in the halfway line, feeds it forward though for Taylor. Taylor, Maida was just slightly on his heels there, but he manages to keep it in. Mayo comes across and just knocks it out down near the corner flag for a Celtic throw-in to be taken by Greg Taylor. 90 seconds of injury time yet to play. Celtic looking for the breakthrough before the interval. Hattati on the goal line, back to Taylor, left hand side. He comes back to McGregor. McGregor on this left flank, coming back and plays it infield to Johnston. McGregor and Vassell come together. Vassell hits the deck, but nothing wrong with that, and McGregor has it inside the centre circle. Every Kilmarnock player behind the ball right now as they look to make sure they go in at the interval no worse than 0-0, as Kuhn picks up right hand side, drifting in field, knocks it back to McGregor midway inside the Kilmarnock half, looking for a killer pass. Ida makes the run and it's all the way in. I don't think Ida gets a touch on that. I think that's Callum McGregor's goal. He was just looking to tease it into an area. Ida made the stretch for it with the right boot. I don't think he made contact, and that fooled Robbie McCrory, who was rocking back on his line, and it's all the way in, and I think that's Callum McGregor's goal, and it's Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 1.
Well, I think it is his goal, but even if anyone gets a touch, to my mind it's still his goal. He took control of this game for the last minute there. He's seen there was a couple of tired players, just as mentioned. I thought we'd struggle because they get 1 or 2 players that are tired. You cannot play that way against a team like Celtic if you get 1 or 2 that are walking wounded. I thought it was going to be a hard 3 or 4 minutes, and it's proved to be. They're going to wait for a moment, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that goal. They're just waiting for the smoke to clear.
It's what they do, you know. They've just ran. Kilmarnock have ran and ran and ran. That first opportunity Callum McGregor gets to get his head up, it's a brilliant. What I would say is, although Adam Ida doesn't touch, it's a brilliant run, it's a brilliant pick out, and because Robbie McCrory, he has to be set for Adam Ida making any contact with it. He misses the ball and it goes all the way in. But it's what Celtic do. It's what how they want the game to go. The man for man system. They keep running, they keep making runs, they tire you out. And the 4 minutes added, I felt like it was the biggest 4 minutes of the day, and Celtic had got their breakthrough.
Goals given, and unless told otherwise, so be given that to Callum McGregor, which makes it 5 for the season for him, and that's the first time, as David Watson looks to quickly reply for Kilmarnock, but drags his shot well wide. First time since season 2019-2020 that Callum McGregor has scored more than 4 in the league in one season. That's him up to 5. And there's the half-time whistle as Derek McInnes jogs down the tunnel. Brendan Rodgers strolls towards it as his side have taken the lead. 4 minutes into stoppage time, Callum McGregor with a teasing ball into the box, looking for Adam Ida. Ida stretched but didn't get anything on it. And Robbie McCrory couldn't readjust to get anything on the the ball coming into his box, and it drifted into the back of the net. Kilmarnock have been well in this contest and arguably could have been ahead. The closest they came was Marley Watkins' clipped effort over Casper Schmeichel at the end of a wonderful Kilmarnock move, but it came back off the upright agonisingly for the home side. It's been a really riveting watch, but as the sides go up that narrow tunnel here at Rugby Park, it's Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 1.
The Scottish Premiership.
From BBC Radio Scotland.
So Callum McGregor with the goal which separates the sides. Kilmarnock will be absolutely distraught that all the hard work they put in during the opening 45 minutes has come apart in deep into first half stoppage time, and it's McGregor who has got the goal that right now is sending Celtic back to the top of the table. Remember the highlights tonight, 7:15 BBC Scotland channel. Scottish Football Podcast is published Monday to Friday. You can download that wherever you get your podcasts. In the week ahead, we've got Women's Champions League on Wednesday night live on Sports Sound. Celtic against Chelsea from Celtic Park. And then on Friday night, Scotland back in UEFA Nations League action at home to Croatia. 6 o'clock start for the programme. And then they'll be live a week on Monday away to Poland. Plenty, as ever, to look forward to. We'll get back to Stephen and Pat. We'll give them a few moments to gather their thoughts after the opening 45 minutes. Going to turn our attention from right now to Ibrox, because in a little over an hour's time, Rangers and Hearts will kick off. Stephen Thompson is there alongside Rob McLean. Rob, you've got the team news already.
Yeah, Richard, the will he, won't he question can be answered. Lots of interest among the Rangers fans clearly in James Tavernier. Well, the answer is he is in. He's back in the team for Rangers this afternoon against Hearts. One of two changes to the side which started in Athens on Thursday. The other is Robin Proper drops out to the bench, and Leon Balogun into that back four as well. Otherwise, it will be same again for Rangers. Jack Butland in goals, James Tavernier, John Souttar, Leon Balogun and Jefte, Conor Barron and Nico Raskan in the middle. Václav Černý, Mohamed Diomande, Nadim Bayrami and Cyril Dessers up front. On the bench for Rangers, Kelly, Proper, Dowell, Sterling, Casemiro, Igaman, Hadji and Danilo, who weren't in the European squad but they're available for this one. They're on the bench alongside Ross McCausland. As for Hearts, on the back of well, a great first half performance it was against Heidenheim on Thursday night. It didn't continue from there, unfortunately for them. Beaten 2-0. 4 changes for Neil Critchley in the Hearts lineup today. Adam Forrester drops out. Daniel Oyegoke returns at right back. Kai Rolls is back in his usual position, you might say, alongside Frankie Kent, with Stephen Kingsley dropping to the bench. Cammy Devlin, who replaced Benny Baningame on Thursday night, starts in midfield alongside Malachy Boateng. Baningame, though, it did look as if it might be serious at the time, but he's among the subs, so he could well feature at some stage. And finally, Jan Danda is replaced by Kenneth Vargas, who starts for Hearts. So Craig Gordon in goals, Oyegoke, Kent, Rolls and Penrice, Cammy Devlin and Malachy Boateng in the middle of the midfield, Spittle just in front, Kenneth Vargas and Alan Forrest out wide, and Lawrence Shankland up front, looking to add to his solitary goal this season from 17 now appearances. On the bench for Hearts, Clark Kingsley, Halkett, Baningame, Grant, Danda, Wilson, Forrester and Musa. Those are the two lineups for this 5 o'clock kickoff.
Rob will be describing all the action. Stephen Thompson and Ryan McGowan will be alongside him, and Stephen is there already. Let's get your quick thoughts then on the team news. Stephen, had you anticipated the captain coming back in, James Tavernier?
Not really, no. It's a bit of a surprise, you know. They brought on Casemiro obviously before him on Thursday night out in Athens, and then obviously he's starting today, so it is a wee bit of a surprise. I mean, he was taken out of the team. You know, he talks about he can't play that same amount of games as he used to be able to do, but it was clearly a performance-related thing as well, because his performance levels had dropped. But he's given him another opportunity this afternoon to come into the side, and you know, a home game that they're expected to win. So it'll be interesting to see how Tavernier does this afternoon. Proper dropping out for Balogun. Again, I think, you know, we know by now that Philippe Clement likes to rotate and talks about the minutes of players often. So, you know, there's
there's nothing really to read into that. The rest of the team remains the same. I thought Raskin the other night was excellent. I thought Cherry and Bayrami have been doing reasonably well, and Dessers, of course, after having fluffed his lines twice, got a really important goal. It was a really good finish, 2-2 for him now. So not too much change for Rangers, but yeah, Tavernier's the kind of one where it'll raise a few eyebrows, no doubt.
And Hearts, more understandable perhaps. He's made the changes after the defeat.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I didn't see it because I was out in Athens, I didn't see the game, but by all accounts Hearts had a really good first half and played well. But you know, ultimately the results recently, after he got off to a flyer, Neil Critchley, with his opening couple of games, and then the draw in the derby, but the last 4, it's just 1 win, 2 defeats and a draw. So he needs to try and find victories. Obviously their league position isn't exactly flattering them just now as well, so it's a big afternoon for Hearts as much as it is for Rangers, and I think he's just freshening it up again. Vargas, I think, comes into the team to give them that wee bit of pace and outball if they need it, to try and stretch Rangers in behind, who you'd expect to be pushing high and trying to kind of force themselves upon Hearts and dominate the game. Lawrence as Rob points out, he's just desperate for a goal. It's you kind of feel for him a wee bit, because I've been there myself when you've gone in a long period without scoring goals, and it does start to really weigh on your mind. And by all accounts, he missed a really good opportunity on Thursday at the start of the game, so he'll be desperate just to get a goal, and it doesn't matter if it's a brilliant goal or a rubbish goal, just get another goal under his belt. But I can understand the changes that Neil Critchley's made to try and freshen it up. They're going to need a lot of energy today against the Rangers team, who put in a really positive performance on Thursday, energetic. Yep. They carried a threat, and it was impressive. But the one thing we do know about Rangers this season is they don't often put 2 good performances back to back, so they're inconsistent.
Just a word about Shanklin. If he had more options, do you think Shanklin would have been left out, or do you feel that he is still, a lot of people have said this who see Hearts regularly, that actually he's still contributing to the team, it's just that he's not scoring goals?
Yeah, I mean, strikers are always judged on their goals, and that's the number one thing that you're in the team to do. But I think Lawrence does bring an awful lot more to the team than just his goals. Obviously last season his goals amounted to an incredible amount of points for Hearts, and was a large part of their success and where they finished in the league. But I think his link-up play is very intelligent. I think he brings a physical presence as well. He's also the captain of the club, so he's got a kind of responsibility, and the players probably look up to him, and a role to play from that point of view as well. So yeah, I mean, I don't think that he would have been dropped regardless, but clearly it's going to have to click for him sooner or later, which it will. He'll end up scoring a number of goals, not as many as last year obviously, because he's way behind just now, but he'll get in the groove and he'll find his shooting boots again. As strikers, these things happen, and he's proven over the last 5 years that his goal record, and he knows where the goal is, so it'll come for him. It's
going to be an intriguing encounter, you imagine. Full live commentary from 5 o'clock, and we can hear quickly from the Hearts boss, Neil Critchley, is with Cerdine Idsan.
Neil, is this your biggest test as Hearts manager? Rangers away, and if so, how do you combat them?
Yeah, I'll probably say it is, but I just see it as the next challenge for us. Obviously playing against a good team, good opposition, but it's just another chance to try and keep moving forward, keep being us. I'm looking forward to seeing how we play in this type of environment today.
A few changes for you today. You've made 4. Is that freshening up? Is it rotation? Talk us through them.
Partly tactical, partly for a bit of freshness. Obviously playing Thursday night. Hopefully they come in and take their opportunity. But also we've got some options on the bench today as well, and maybe they play their part later on in the game.
How do you get the best out of Lawrence Shankland?
He's just got to keep doing what he's been doing. The last few games he's been excellent. He's been so close to scoring. I know he'll be frustrated because goal scorers all want to score goals, but his all-round general play has been exceptional. He was fantastic Thursday night in Europe. He led the line brilliantly well, and he's been so close to scoring. If he keeps putting himself in those positions, then I've got no doubts he'll score.
And just find that would be quite the statement were you to win here. It's not happened for Hearts in a long time.
Yeah. No, it hasn't, and that was the message to the team before the game. You know, we haven't been here and won. I think it was 2014 and that was in the Championship. So it's an opportunity to come here and show what we're about, and eventually a Hearts team has to come here and win. So why not us?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Neil Critchley, the Heart of Midlothian manager. Rangers against Hearts. Remember, a 5 o'clock kickoff will be hitting there as soon as the action, maybe almost immediately, the action is over at Rugby Park, because there was about 5 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the first half, something similar, and there will be not much time in between the two matches. We might just hear from Philippe Clement before we head back for commentary. We're just going to have to play that by ear, so let's just quickly get some thoughts from the boys at Rugby Park. Then Kilmarnock against Celtic for about 47 and a half minutes, Pat and Evan. It was working incredibly well for Kilmarnock, wasn't it?
It absolutely was. I actually thought the tactics were brilliant, bordering on genius. I didn't see it at the start. Remember, we listened to Derek before the game, and he said, I want to dominate the midfield, but he's going to leave 2 up. And I said, well, you do either or. You don't do both of them. Unless you've got a different plan, which he did. He had Ndaba going in from left back or left centre back to play in the centre of the midfield there, the left hand side of the midfield there, up against Engels, gave him that extra body in there. Really, really smart. But as we said right at the start, that means you go man for man at the back. You do not have one opportunity at all to make one mistake, because you'll get punished. Now, I don't actually think they made a mistake. What actually done them in the end is they had 2 players that were hobbling at that point in time. Just 2 minutes from the whistle for the end of the half, and you just saw, you almost felt McGregor's eyes lighting up, going, oh yeah, here it is, here's my moment, I've got a little bit of space, I'm going to take control of this game. Got it off his goalkeeper, played it all the way up, 1-2s, controlled the game, and eventually put the ball in, which was half cross, half shot, perfect ball in there. And again, it's back down to that. We talked about, I couldn't speak more highly of him, I thought, than what he did against Leipzig. But in that moment, it just shows you the man's intelligence. His football intelligence is off the scale.
Yeah, and the goal itself, I mean, it is McGregor's goal. Ida gets about within a foot or so of making the touch, but there is no touch. But you cannot fault, Stephen, Robbie McCrory, can you? Because he has to be ready for the touch to come from the striker.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's mad to say, probably a bit mental. The 2 biggest moments from players in this half are not even touching the ball. Kasper Schmeichel spreading himself so much that Marley Watkins has to make it. He has to be inch perfect. His shot ends up hitting the post. And Adam Ida, although he misses the ball, the movement's brilliant. And Robbie McCrory has to be waiting to react to his shot. Ultimately doesn't do it, and it goes in. I actually thought, Kilmarnock couldn't really have played any better, but you have to take that chance. These chances, we said it the day against Rangers, and they ended up getting more chances, but Celtic's another level up again. Although Schmeichel does brilliant, Watkins just has to score, because even getting in at 0-0 at half time, I think Brendan Rodgers would have been quite pleased with how much Kilmarnock had put into it. I played against a Brendan Rodgers team, they move you side to side, they keep you running back, and eventually they pick you off, and that's exactly what happened. I expected it maybe to go into the second half, but as Pat said, Kennedy and Vassell were visibly struggling, and Celtic took full advantage and got the lead.
Well, it sounds as if the players are just beginning to emerge there at Rugby Park. Remember, we've got full live commentary to come of Rangers against Heart of Midlothian. The rugby is on right now. That, of course, Scotland against South Africa in the autumn test. They'll be kicking off in about 5 minutes. If you want to hear that, you'll get it on Radio Scotland Digital, Radio Scotland Extra on BBC Sounds, or indeed online at bbc.co.uk/Sports Scotland. I'm sure we'll get to hear from Philippe Clement, the Rangers manager, just ahead of kick-off in that game against Ibrox. Couple of changes for Rangers, 4 changes for Hearts. Full live commentary to come from there. But right now, after a few problems in the opening 45 minutes, Celtic found a way through the Cats captain Callum McGregor, lifting the ball into the box, either not making the touch, but being there, a presence enough to disconcert Robbie McCrory, the ball bouncing into the net. And that is why at half-time we have a scoreline of Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 1, full live second half commentary right here on Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland with Pat Nevin, Stephen McGinn and Al Lamont.
Thanks again, Rich. Kilmarnock back out and ready. Celtic emerged from the tunnel. The good news for Killie is that Matty Kennedy, whatever knock he took in the first half, he's okay to continue. The bad news is that they've lost their captain at the interval. Kyle Vassell, who we mentioned was hobbling towards the end of that first period, hasn't re-emerged. The captain's armband has gone to Brad Lyons, and Innes Cameron has come on for his third consecutive substitute appearance to lead the line for Killie. So a big half for him. I was going to call him a young man, and I suppose relatively speaking he still is, but he's 24 now. So no longer that sort of emerging talent at Killie. This is the kind of time he really needs to be making a name for himself, and when better to do it than coming up with a goal against the champions. From their point of view, hopefully to earn them something from the game. But Celtic, having got their noses in front, will be keen to ensure they avoid a repeat of last season when they were leading by a 1-0 but did go down to a 2-1 defeat here in the league. We're back underway, and it's Celtic going from left to right as we look at it from the back of the main stand, leading by that 1-0 as Cameron gets his first touch and nods it down for Watson. Watson just lets it run away from him though, but Hatate's made a hash of his control, and there's an early chance, and Schmeichel makes a save, and it was Cameron getting the shot off, or it was a powerfully struck one, but Schmeichel gets his body right behind it and able to gather at his near post. But an early opportunity and a decent strike, and that will give Innes Cameron some confidence. But here comes Celtic at the other end. It's Engels who's flicked it through. Ida trying to get on the end of it. Robbie McCrory comes out. Ida gets the touch, takes it round him, but behind for a goal kick, and well, an end-to-end start in the opening minute of this second period. 1-0 Celtic lead.
Again, comes from Rio Hatate being slack in midfield. Kilmarnock are right on top of it, as they always look to be in midfield. It's a good slide ball into Innes Cameron, and he'll be happy with his start coming into the game, replacing the captain. Gets a shot away, and Kasper Schmeichel just there to parry it. But it's probably the first game in Corey Ndaba's made a mistake. He get caught ball watching, Arnie Engels runs off him, and probably a couple of inches away from being the perfect pass to Adam Ida.
McCrory done well not to dive out there. I thought he was going to give it away a penalty kick. Very clever.
Here's Lyons, right hand side, looking to get the better of Taylor. Gets the cross in. McGregor knocks it away from inside the penalty area. Hatate back to Taylor. He's quickly closed down by Donnelly, but it's come off Donnelly and gone out for a throw-in over on the far side. No Celtic changes, incidentally, at the interval, so they're still as they were at the start of the game.
Just watching Matty Kennedy out there.
Doesn't look entirely comfortable, does he?
That's being polite. With miles off it, but maybe he's going to just try and run it off. He maybe stiffened up a wee bit over half time, but he really is hobbling quite badly out there.
Yeah, that was a result of the Maida challenge in the first period. It wasn't a particularly bad challenge, but it's obviously hurt Kennedy in some shape or form. Celtic have possession left hand side. Hatate feeds it forward onto the halfway line for Ida. Ida cuts back and then tries to feed it forward for Kuhn, but Robbie Dees watched that one and gets it to Donnelly, who now finds Kennedy. Let's see what he's got in the tag. That's a lovely ball forward the outside of his right boot, finds Cameron in the left channel, comes out of the penalty area though, shepherded by Trusty, which is done well. Cameron curls it back in, Scales gets a touch, comes to Lyons at the back post, gets onto the left foot, saved by Schmeichel. Donnelly with a shot, deflected by Engels, and that'll go behind for a Kilmarnock corner. Well, they've started the second half much as they started the first. They're really going for this Kilmarnock. By no means are they out of this game at this stage.
Brad Lyons has got to lay that off there to Liam Donnelly or David Watson. His eyes have lit up and he's tried to get the shot away, but too many touches, and Kasper Schmeichel's able to set himself.
By the way, do you know any keeper who saves more goals with his feet than Kasper Schmeichel? Incredible.
Kennedy then from the left hand side. The right footer is just going to have to wait because the referee has again spotted something that he's not happy with inside the penalty area. Austin Trusty has been pulled over to the referee, who holds his hands out as if to say, well, what have I done wrong? And Nick Walsh explains exactly what he's done, and then the corner kick will be allowed to be taken just shortly from the left hand side. Then it's Kennedy. He looks like he's nursing an injury, but he'll send this one into the back post. Ndaba's there with the header, nods it down, just wide from Ndaba. Really big chance, because he was unmarked at the back post and found himself a bit of space, but couldn't get the header on target, and it remains Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 1.
A good free kick there, good corner kick there, back post. A lot of players dragged in and he gets a header on it, but he should get it on target there. But good lively start from Killie at the start of the second half. They've not been put off too much by that late goal they lost there, but you get the feeling they need to get something back quite soon, or else they might tire again.
Arnie Engels get away with one there. He's just been caught ball watching. Corey Ndaba's actually, he's got to hit the target. I'm not saying he's got to score, but he's got to hit the target. I think Engels has really got away with one there.
49 played. You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. An enthralling game between Derek McInnes's Kilmarnock and Brendan Rodgers' champions Celtic, looking to return to the top of the league after Aberdeen displaced them yesterday with that 4-1 win over Dundee. A mightily impressive second half performance from the Dons to ensure the victory. Kilmarnock will have to come up with something special in this second half as well. It's Donnelly trying to get the shot away, pokes it goalwards, comes off Trusty. Kilmarnock are claiming for a handball in there. I didn't see anything myself. Of course, VAR will be checking it just in case, but didn't seem to be anything much wrong with it. As Ida goes up the other end, finds Kuhn inside the penalty area. Kuhn, can he get the shot off? It's deflected behind. A wonderful challenge in the end from Joe Wright to divert it off target, as it looked like Kuhn might double Celtic's advantage. And the penalty claim the other end has been checked and dismissed by the VAR. So it will be a Celtic corner at this other end, but Kuhn's eyes must have lit up there.
It's a match-saving block from Joe Wright. Brilliant, really, really good play from Adam Ida, and recognises that Nicholas Kuhn's so quick, he's run off him, he's played it inside, and Nicholas Kuhn's just about to double the advantage, and a brilliant touch from Joe Wright.
Nick Walsh again is not happy with something inside the penalty area before this Celtic corner kick is taken by Arne Engels, left hand side, 5 minutes into the second period. Celtic leading by 1-0. Engels looking to help add to that here as he curls it in towards the back post. Maida challenges McCrory. Celtic trying to scramble over the line. Eventually it's scrambled clear. There's a free kick being given to Killie in any event as they struggle to clear that. McCrory under severe pressure at his back post there from Maida. Didn't necessarily cover himself in glory. I don't think dealing with cross balls is his forte. But Kilmarnock get away with that, and it will be a free kick inside the penalty area. Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 1.
Well, you try and play for a bit of chaos, and certainly that's what Kilmarnock try to do a lot of the time when they get the balls into the box there. But Celtic doing a very good job there. Unlucky, it's one of those ones, if it falls to your feet, it's a tap-in, but no one really had a clean head at it.
Watkins gets the flick on from McCrory's long ball, and then Lyons has done well against Taylor out on that right hand side. Curls it in near post. Michael punches it high up in the air. Not sure if that might have nicked the woodwork as well, as Maida helps it clear. Kilmarnock looking for an equaliser, but Ida comes away, can't find Maida, and it'll be a Kilmarnock throw. And that was a vicious ball in from Lyons, and I think he was maybe trying to catch Schmeichel out of that near post and almost did so, but Schmeichel eventually getting enough on it to get it clear. Lyons has done well over in a more right-sided midfield role this afternoon. Usually plays more centrally, but he's done well. He's given Taylor quite a hard time.
And going straight for the byline every time. You know, just there's not much of a jink there. There's not much of a trick there. He just gets his head down, gets to the byline, gets the ball in any way he can. Really intriguing watching Schmeichel just now. He basically never tries to catch the ball. If he gets, just get it away. Now, that's what you would do normally, you know, the balls are faster and all that sort of thing. But on this surface, not interested. Get it as far away as possible from the goal. Doesn't matter if he's punching it, feet, knees, don't care.
You're giving Brad Lyons a lot of credit with that shank cross.
Oh, really?
His strikers weren't quite as pleased as... He was getting a good position. I think he's just got to wrap his foot around it and feed Cameron and Watkins.
That's been kind by saying he doesn't care how he puts in, as long as it's in. he'll tell the strikers it's up to you to get there.
Here's Kuhn right hand side for Celtic, infield to McGregor, the goal scorer, driving Celtic forward out to the right hand side for Johnston just outside the penalty area, blocked by Ndaba, out for a Celtic throw in midway inside the Killie half. The Canadian takes it into his captain McGregor and then gets it back on the touchline, back the way to Trusty, who scales infield of him, and that's where the ball goes. And the Republic of Ireland international out to Hatate on the left hand side. Hatate, Maida and Kyogo all in the Japan squad. A recall for Kyogo. His absence from that international setup always baffles me, but he's back in there for the upcoming internationals. Yet another international break, the third of the season already, as Scales Plays it back to Trusty just inside his own half. Short ball out to the right to Johnston. Johnston looks ahead of him, thinks about the clip ball forward, but changes his mind and goes back the way to Schmeichel. Schmeichel just inside his 6-yard box here, and then puts his foot on the ball, contemplates his next move. Hatate comes and offers himself, but Schmeichel goes out to the left to Taylor. Taylor then forward up to the halfway line. Ida just lays it off for Hatate, who made a forward run out to the left for Maida. Maida, good first touch. He's done well. He's away from Mayo. Mayo trying to snap back at him. He's done well, the fullback, to hold him up. Back it goes though to Hatate, left hand side, midway inside Kilmarnock territory. Gets it back once more from McGregor, and then back with Scales. Scales brings it forward into that middle area of the Kilmarnock half, out to the left once more for Hatate. Then Taylor tries to play it beyond Lyons, but it comes off Lyons and out for a throw-in over on the far side, quickly taken by Taylor. It's a poor one. Maida can't get there, and it's knocked away by Mayo. McGregor battling away there, but breaks for Lyons up to the halfway line. He sends it, but Scales just turns it back to his goalkeeper, Kasper Schmeichel. Celtic certainly not home and dry by any means in this game so far. 10 minutes of the second half played. They lead by a 0-0, but Kilmarnock continuing to make this highly competitive, and Celtic will definitely need, you feel, a second goal before they're comfortable in this game. Ndaba wins the side a free kick, and then Johnston's not happy with his attentions and goes chest to chest with the big defender, and Nick Walsh has to step in and separate the two, and a word will be required with the pair.
You can see Celtic are getting a little bit more of their normal style of play now. I mean, Kilmarnock just did not give them time, space, and they weren't able to play it out from the back at all, just about in the entirety of that first half. Second half, it's going to get a little bit easier for them. They'll be able to play a little bit more like their way. But I think that Kilmarnock can adapt to that themselves, and they've still got a lot of power up front if they get the ball into those dangerous areas, which they're going to try and do right now.
Yeah, the free kick's on the halfway line to be taken by Liam Donnelly. Celtic holding a very, very high line. Kilmarnock will try and take advantage of that. They have to make sure they stay on side, as Donnelly then clips it up towards the edge of the penalty area. It's a late run from Cameron, who does stay on side, knocks it back out to the left hand side for Kennedy. Kennedy just flicks it back to Cameron, who goes back to Donnelly. Donnelly then pumps it in towards the back post, helped back into the area there by Wright. It might come there for Kennedy. Brilliant charge down there from McGregor to deny him a clean shot. Cameron picks up left hand side, being shepherded by Kuhn. Back the way to Kennedy. Another decent spell for Kelly here as they keep the pressure on. Back into the penalty. It comes for Watkins, trying to get turned and get the shot away. It's a weak one, but it falls in there for Wright. Wright, can he lay it back to a teammate? Engels tries to get it clear, and eventually it's stumped up to the halfway line by Aramida. Anywhere would do at that stage, as Celtic make sure that Kilmarnock cannot find an equaliser at this stage. 57 on the clock, and it's still a 1-goal lead for Celtic here at Rugby Park. They're not having things all their own way, as Trusty has to step in and prevent Watkins latching on to a knockdown there. Scales picks up at the edge of his own penalty area. Engels back to Johnston. This is as hard a test as Celtic have had domestically in some time, albeit Aberdeen gave them a good go in the second half at Celtic Park a few weeks ago, but Kilmarnock doing likewise over the course of the game so far, as Ndaba picks the ball up midway inside his own half once more. Terrific performance from him so far in the game, and brings Kelly forward, gets the 1-2 from Watkins, then tries to find Cameron but couldn't do so, and Celtic have it in the midfield, and it's Engels. Engels plays it short for McGregor, who's challenged from behind there by Watkins. Previous foul, and Engels is now penalised, and Celtic will have the free kick inside the centre circle, as things just begin to get a little bit tousy in there.
I think Engels is enjoying it, is he? He's getting tackled all over the place. He's getting closed down. He would love to get a little bit of space to get his head up. He has hardly got half a second so far.
McGregor's ball into the box is knocked away by Dees. Picked up by Johnston midway inside the Kilmarnock half. Looks to get on the end of a 1-2 with Ida. Hatate picks up as Johnston was knocked to the ground, but play continues with Celtic still in possession. Here is Hatate, left hand side. In for Ida, it's just beyond Ida. Thought about stretching the right leg out, but then withdrew it because he knew he wasn't going to get on the end of it. Behind for a goal kick. Celtic looking to make this 26 games undefeated domestically since they lost at Tynecastle at the start of March. It's quite a run, and they're being given a run for their money here by Kilmarnock, but they do lead by a 0-0. try as Kilmarnock might to get back on level terms, as Ndaba feeds it forward, flicked on by Cameron. Kennedy's trying to get on the end of it. Referee says there was nothing wrong with Alistair Johnston's challenge, and despite the home fans' protests, I tend to agree with them. As Engels picks up right hand side, finds Kuhn back into Engels, coming forward over the halfway line. Watson thinks about nibbling his ankles, lets him go. Engels into the area, out comes McCrory and gathers at the feet of Maida, and it will remain after 59 minutes. Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 1.
I think it's really good covering from Alistair Johnston. Matty Kennedy's got the wrong side of him. Any illegal touch from Alistair Johnston, and it's potentially a red card. So really good defending. Really, he's an experienced Celtic player now. I think he's tidied that up really well.
By the way, well done, Matty Kennedy. Come back into it, hasn't he? He was limping and limping and limping. He's had a shot. It was a ball. He's just closed down in about the 18-yard line a few minutes ago. He caught brilliantly, and that time he almost got away from the defender. So I think he's run it off.
Celtic are going to make a couple of changes. Brendan Rodgers just calling Kyogo and Bernardo back to the dugout from their warm-up, and those two are getting stripped. So different problems for Kilmarnock to contend with in the closing half hour, but they're still well in this game as Lyons wins the ball above Taylor, breaks now for Watson, right hand side, just clips it forward. Cameron's done pretty well since he's come on. I mean, the loss of Vassell is a big one for Kelly, but he's put himself about up there and won his fair share of balls in that attacking area for Kelly as they come forward again down the right hand side. Liam Scales will chest the ball down and then tries to release Kuhn. It's a pretty intelligent ball, and Kuhn has got onto it. Ida's up there with him, slips him in. Can he get it back to Kuhn? He can. Big chance, good save, Robbie McCrory. Great save in fact to deny Kuhn. Comes to Engels, shots blocked by Donnelly inside the penalty area, and Kilmarnock get it cleared up towards the halfway line. But that was terrific goalkeeping by Robbie McCrory, and Stephen mentioned a goal saving challenge a moment ago by Joe Wright. Well, that was a goal-saving save, and here's Cameron at the other end, up against Trusty, gets the shot off and saved by Schmeichel. Killy corner, wow, great stuff here at Rugby Park. Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 1.
Tell you what, good luck getting the highlights in a few minutes tonight. There'll be plenty tonight, both sides. It's been a really good second half, arguably a better second half than it was the first half, and that was a good one. But goalkeepers at the moment are doing exceptionally well, both sides. Can't believe it's only 1-0.
A brilliant save from Robin McCrory. Nicholas could still get his head in his hands. He knows that was the game. Robin McCrory stays big and he pulls off a big save for Kilmarnock.
And Cameron did well to get a shot away on target from the angle. Here's Kennedy's corner from the left hand side, comes to the back post. Dees back into the danger area. Maida knocks it high to the edge of the penalty area, helped on by Hattati. Donnelly will return it. Trusty's underneath it, heads it clear. Hattati tries to help it on but doesn't get the contact he was looking for. Returned by Ndaba. There's Watkins, gets there ahead of Trusty. Left hand side of the box, tries a little back heel for Kennedy. Despairing challenge, does just enough there. Alistair Johnston, and the flag goes up for offside to halt Kilmarnock's progress, and Celtic will make those two changes as Kyogo and Bernardo prepare to come on. But what a game this has been. The second half probably even more exciting than a pretty enthralling first period. It's still all to play for as Adam Ida is replaced by Kyogo, and Paulo Bernardo will come on for Arne Engels, who, as you say, Pat, has not had the most comfortable of afternoons out there.
No, and it's nothing against him. It's just he's been playing against possibly the best player in the pitch. and I think Ndaba's had a super game so far. Energy levels, power levels have been fantastic, but also the ability to adapt to a half position all the way through the game. He's been very, very special.
Free kick taken long by Celtic. Joe Wright underneath it, picked up though by Bernardo. Now it's he that Ndaba has to try and track, and he's done that well in the first instance, and it's out of play for a Celtic throw-in in this near side. 63 played. Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 1. You're listening to Sportsline on BBC Radio Scotland. Stay tuned. After this game, you'll get Rangers Hearts with us as well. Highlights of both games on Sports Scene tonight. Of course, as Pat says, you might struggle to get every single highlight in the package in the allotted time, but we'll do our best as Kilmarnock come forward. As Watkins inside the penalty area, little step over to try and get a shot away, but Trusty stands up and blocks it. Comes out to the left hand side for Kennedy, onto the right foot, into the back post. The header comes in from Lyons and it's blocked as well. tried to get the downward header in there, and there was a Celtic body in the way as Celtic are having to work really hard to stay on top here. Cameron looking to put the pressure back on Celtic, but he's knocked out to the Kelly right, out of play. But you can hear the home fans' appreciation for the effort and actually the quality that their side are showing here, Stephen.
Yeah, brilliant from the Kilmarnock players. It's Celtic they've played a couple of square passes. Liam Scales was guilty of one. Greg Taylor there. Any square passes, Kilmarnock are just after it, and they're keeping Celtic so honest with their play.
Down the left, Celtic try to come, but Kilmarnock have pinched it back. Scales was just caught there by Cameron. Play continues, and Daba picks up on the loose ball midway inside the Celtic half, tries to step away from Bernardo. Safety first, goes back the way to Joe Wright. Square to Dees, left hand side. Kennedy well tracked by Alistair Johnston. He's right up his backside there and gets it back to Ndaba, who clips it forward looking for Watson. Trusty reads it, gets it to Johnston. McGregor's under pressure here. Watkins is pinched still from him. Here's Kennedy inside the area. Can he find it in for the shot? Oh, brilliant save from Schmeichel to deny him. Kennedy can't believe it. He found a yard of space inside the penalty area, but Schmeichel down to his left just as you thought Kennedy was going to strike the equaliser. The Big Dean keeps it out. Behind for a corner, Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 1.
Right, he's naturally feeling a wee bit unfair for Kilmarnock now. The amount of opportunities that they've created just now. Had they had a Kyogo on their side or an Ida in their side, Kilmarnock would have scored 2 or 3 goals by now. That little bit of pure quality when you've got the whites of the keeper's eyes in front of you, they've just not been able to do it. Even though Schmeichel's done well, one of those chances should have been taken.
Kennedy from the right hand side this time as Kilmarnock look to try and make this pressure pay. Near post balls defended at the expense of another corner by the captain Callum McGregor. Kilmarnock, certainly on the evidence of the opening 65, will feel hard done by that they are not at least level in this game. Trailed by a goal to nil as Kennedy will try again here from the right. Lots of movement inside the penalty area as Kennedy this time puts it onto the penalty spot. Who's going to break to? It's Maida who gets it clear out of the penalty area. Returned by Ndaba, and that'll go all the way through to Schmeichel, who immediately launches it looking for Kuhn over the halfway line. It'll be watched there by Lewis Mayo, who gets his head to it. Cameron thought was maybe coming back from an offside position, but no flag, so play continues. On the right hand side, Kilmarnock have it. Back to Mayo on the halfway line. Short ball for Donnelly. Cameron once more back to Mayo, chested down by Watson inside the Celtic half. Back the way it goes to Cameron, trying to come forward now. It's Lyons right hand side, low ball in, dummied by Watkins at the edge of the box. Half cleared by Celtic, then fully cleared by McGregor. Kyogo trying to spin away from Wright, who's got it's a completely different challenge, Kyogo and Ida, that he's now got to face Kyogo instead of Ida, I should say. So 66.5 played. Killie 0, Celtic 1. But the champions being given a really thorough examination here by Derek McInnes' side. Hatate tries to clear it, but he's gone back the way, and Johnston forced into evasive action at the edge of his own penalty area. It's Joe Wright forcing it forward. Celtic have lost a little bit of their usual composure in the middle of the park as Johnston forces it forward. He was caught late there by Watson. He'll get a free kick for his troubles midway inside his own half. Almost at the midway point in this second period, and it's still Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 1, but it's quite a game.
Just to echo what Stephen was saying in the first half, Kilmarnock have got to score one a little bit on top, and they were on top for a large period of the first half and they couldn't quite get it, and they're now having a good period where they're on top here as well. I can never remember seeing Celtic for a long time having so many panicked, hoofed clearances from the back, but that's because they've been put under such pressure, but you've got to make it count.
There's Mayo all the way back to Robbie McCrory, who made that vital save from Kuhn just a few moments ago, but that was matched as well at the other end a couple of times actually by Schmeichel, particularly from the Matty Kennedy shot getting away low down to his left hand side, belying his 38 years. The agility required to get down as low as he did to push it away was terrific. Catch that on Sportscene tonight if you can, 7:15, as Maida picks up left hand side for Celtic, midway inside Kilmarnock territory. Back to the goal scorer Callum McGregor. His goal separates the sides with 68 on the clock. Left by Scales for McGregor, who'll look to try and dictate as much as possible for the remaining 22 minutes of the game. Johnston into the feet of Kyogo, midway inside Kilmarnock half. Nice ball into the path of McGregor. McGregor drives Celtic forward, lays it back into Kyogo. Kyogo goes down under minimal contact inside the penalty area, and it runs through to Robbie McCrory. No chance that was ever going to be given as a penalty. And Kilmarnock get it moving again as they search for an equaliser, which few, certainly neutrals, would grudge them.
Do you know what, I'd like to ask Callum McGregor how much he works American football. He is a quarterback.
Here's Kyogo, brilliant touch inside the penalty area, tries to get through the challenge of Joe Wright. In the end, the defender emerges with possession. It was a brilliant first touch as Watkins picks up on the halfway line. Cameron trying to stay onside. Watkins down the right, steps away from Scales. A couple of options in the middle if he can get it beyond Scales, but he can't, and it will be a throw-in instead to Kilmarnock, about 15 yards from the corner flag on the right-hand side. The home fans who have turned out here at Rugby Park have seen a really terrific performance from their side, and still urging them on towards what they hope will be at least a point from the game. 1-0 they trail as Watson lines up a long throw-in, 20 to play of the 90. Right-hand side, here comes David Watson, talented young midfielder. Long throw-in, won by Scales, comes to the edge of the box, left for Ndaba, who gets there just before Kyogo, struggling to keep a hold of it though, and Celtic can break here. Kuhn gets out to the left-hand side for Maida. Good first touch from Maida, now motoring towards goal. Sliding challenge comes in there, still Maida's goal, and then another challenge knocked out of play before Maida can get there. And Kilmarnock working really hard to ensure that Celtic don't extend their lead. Maida, we know how fast he is, but a couple of Kilmarnock players going back there to make really important challenges. It was Mayo who made the second one of those. I think it was Brad Lyons who really got on his bike to try and keep pace with Maida to slow him down initially. Here is Kuhn into Bernardo, just outside the penalty area of Kilmarnock. Gets it back from Johnston, the Portuguese midfielder, back the way to Trusty on the halfway line. A second goal for Celtic, you feel, would kill this game off, but while it's still 1-0, Kilmarnock will feel they are in with an opportunity of taking something from the game. McGregor just inside his own half, plays it short to Johnston, who looks down the right flank, gets it over Dees, and Kuhn, although he's been dragged back, can move into the penalty area. This is Nicholas Kuhn! Wonderful from Nicholas Kuhn once again to slot it past Robbie McCrory and surely finish Kilmarnock off as much as they put into the game. It is a bit of class once again from Kuhn, released by Johnston down the right, gets away from Robbie Dees, wonderful touch into the area, and on the left foot he just slots it beyond the keeper to make it Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 2.
Unbelievable from Nicholas Kuhn. I said in the first half, he's running, he's unselfish running all the time. He was getting in behind Robbie Dees and Celtic players weren't playing the pass. Eventually Alistair Johnson just chucked it in. He's so quick, Nicholas Kuhn, his movement's so good and he's so quick, you just need to find the grass. He's too quick for Dees, he's too quick for Watson. In the finish 10 minutes ago, Robbie McCrory gets the better of him from a tighter angle. Nicholas Kuhn just bends it into the far corner, and that is the game for Celtic.
Do you know what, it's the comfort and confidence that he's got when he gets there. We were talking earlier on about the fact that they go man for man at the back, Kilmarnock, so you cannot make one mistake. You have to get it right every time. Kuhn, as you say, kept on making the right runs, eventually got there. Still a bit to do though, but the calmest man in this whole stadium there when he got 1-on-1 with the keeper was him. He knew exactly what he was going to do 10 yards before he'd done it. Great finish.
Celtic's top scorer now, 10 for the season for the German, adding to that wonderful double he scored against RB Leipzig in the week, and he's surely put the game beyond Kelly as Celtic prepare a double change here with Anthony Ralston and James Forrest coming on for the closing 17 minutes or thereabouts. It'll be Alistair Johnston who will be replaced at right back by Anthony Ralston before he goes away and joins up with the Scotland squad. Johnston will presumably do likewise with Canada, and it's Nicholas Kuhn who makes way. Well, is there another player who you can think of, Stephen, who has been so transformed from one season to the next? I know there's probably 2 or 3 examples up at Aberdeen actually, but Nicholas Kuhn from last season when he first came in looking a little bit lost to this season when he's unplayable.
Yeah, we've got to take the manager's word that he was having real problems with his mouth, his teeth, so he looked uncomfortable in the Celtic strap, but I mean, so far he has been the player of the season in Scotland. He's devastating when he's close to unstoppable. When he makes that movement, the pace he has and the quality, when you're running that fast, it's really hard to show the quality that he does regularly. So I mean, amazing turnaround. And credit, he's a young man coming to a different country and having had some health troubles. Size of Celtic, he is growing to be a top Celtic player.
Yeah, absolutely. Pat, would you?
Yeah, and he's just a joy to watch. But go back to my previous point about, see when you get somebody who's got a bit of class when they're 1-on-1 with a keeper, there's a big difference between the two teams here, and I would almost argue that has been the difference today. Once you get 1-on-1 with a goalkeeper, are you going to lash at it? Are you capable of, just curling it round into the back post instead of either hitting the post or hitting the goalkeeper? And just that little tiny difference here and there is the difference between those players on that pitch just now.
Kilmarnock are about to make a triple change as they look to try and get themselves back into the game. Forrest penalised there for a challenge on Ndaba, and that will allow Derek McInnes to make those changes. So let's run through them then. It's going to be Rory McKenzie coming on for David Watson, and we're also going to see Fraser Murray replace Matty Kennedy. And lastly, it will be Marley Watkins making way. And the final player coming on is Bruce Anderson. So Kilmarnock, quarter of an hour to somehow get themselves back from 2 goals down. It's pretty rare that Celtic give up this kind of advantage. Not entirely unheard of. Aberdeen did it earlier in the season, but they're a whole half to do it. Kilmarnock have got quarter of an hour, but they might get a chance here. Trustee able to clear from the penalty spot there, as Celtic do come forward now down the left hand side. It's Hatate looking to try and release Kyogo. It's not a good ball though from Hatate, and brought down in the chest by Mayo, and immediately fed forward looking for Anderson, beaten in the jump though by Scales, and then Taylor finds Hatate left hand side. Then Bernardo gets it to McGregor. McGregor trying to link with Hatate, doesn't quite come off. Hatate will go and keep it in though and knock it back to Scales. Now it's Austin Trusty at the back for Celtic. Now Ralston back with Trusty once more just outside his own penalty area. Kilmarnock fans applauding one of the players who's just come off, who headed down the tunnel. I mean, the fans will rightly applaud the efforts of Kilmarnock today. I mean, they've done very little wrong, as you say, Pat. Probably just comes down to that little bit of quality that Celtic have that's maybe just slightly lacking in the Kilmarnock finishing.
And in most teams finishing, let's be honest, it's not a dig at Kilmarnock. And Celtic have good quality strikers, they've good quality finishers. Kyogo, if he's given a chance, he'll probably take it. Ida, given a chance, he'll probably take it. And certainly in Kuhn, he's definitely going to take it if he gets himself in a position like that, especially the confident way he's playing just now. So yeah, that little bit extra, that's what you pay the money for.
Ralston gets the better of Murray, but it's knocked out of play for a Kelly throw-in down deep in Celtic territory. Left hand side as Kelly come forward. Dees takes it back to Ndaba, who's perhaps been the pick of the bunch for Kilmarnock. Dees feeds it into the area, away by Trusty. Donnelly returns it to the edge of the area, flicked on by Cameron. Out to the right hand side for Lyons, closely watched by Taylor. He's held on to it though now. Donnelly back the way to Mayo. Mayo on the halfway line, plays it infield to Joe Wright. Wright closed down by Kyogo, tries to play it over the top of Ralston, looking for Murray. It's a good ball actually, and Murray is able to keep it in right in the touchline, but Ralston sticks a toe in and releases it down the right, and Dees plays it off Forrest. It'll be a Kilmarnock throw-in, beg your pardon, quickly taken by Dees for Ndaba. Ndaba can't get the better of Bernardo, who will go and chase that, but Joe Wright will help it back to Robbie McCrory. 78 minutes on the clock. Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 2. Kilmarnock have given plenty to this game, but ultimately it looks like Brendan Rodgers' side will just have that champions quality to move back to the top of the table. Oh, unbelievable bit of skill from Kasper Schmeichel. He was sold a little bit short by Liam Scales. He was being closed down very quickly, and he just let the ball run under his foot and then stepped over it. A wonderful turn that most of his outfield teammates would have been proud of. and Kasper Schmeichel, who's come up with a couple of top saves to ensure the clean sheet so far, producing a bit of skill there that we'll be pretty pleased about.
Do you know, there's been various times in the game where he's looked quite unorthodox, and you watch Schmeichel sometimes you think, well, you're not coming out and catching anything, you're not dominating the box, etc. Actually, he knows exactly what he's good at. So the stuff is, he's good with the ball at his feet, and he's good at saving his feet. If he has to punch it, he'll punch it. He doesn't care. Just get it away. His job is to stop goals. All the other stuff, you know, don't worry about it until he gets his little back flick there, and he looks like a classy centre back.
Sure does, yeah. As Kyogo gets it out to the right hand side for Forrest. Forrest feeds it back into Kyogo, chests it down brilliantly, and Hatate steps onto it, looks to feed it out to Maida, just cut out by Mayo and picked up by Murray. Murray drives Kilmarnock forward, but Trusty was in the way, and then Donnelly's caught late by Hatate. That looked a little bit high, and there's going to be a card, and it's a yellow one for Rio Hatate, and of course VAR will double check that is the right call. I mean, Hatate, I think you can definitely say, is not that type of player, and so if he has caught Liam Donnelly high, it will be entirely accidental. But well, you can hear there is a check for a red card, but that's par for the course. Hatate, as I say,
it's high. I think it'll come down to if he actually makes contact with him. That was my one bit of doubt. If he's made contact with Donnelly as high as it looked at the first viewing.
Do you know what? You'd feel really sorry for him, because you're right. It won't have been deliberate, but if it's reckless, it doesn't matter if it's deliberate.
No, exactly,
or not.
exactly.
But I think that'd be harsh. And by the way, the opposition are not making a big thing of it at all.
It's the touch. It's impossible to read the bounce of the ball. He thinks it's just going to, and it bounces up the way.
He's gone to ground, all that sort of stuff. His feet's a little bit high. Well, it's one of those ones you really don't want him to see getting a red for that. It's harsh, but within the letter of the law, I've seen them given. But
I think quite a lot of people in the ground probably do want it to be a red card.
No, I wouldn't want it, because he's well done. I think the referee's in the red card.
VAR are happy with it. The yellow card stands, and Rio Hatate stays on.
Don't you put away a wee bit?
Don't think there's big contact there. I think that's what saves him.
Yeah, Liam Donnelly went down, but was quickly back on his feet, and Rio Hatate survives with just the yellow card.
Can underline an awful, well, in a moment, there's a break.
Yeah, Bernardo leading it on the halfway line, just caught there I think by Ndaba, but fairly in the referee's view, and Kilmarnock have it back on the right hand side. It's McKenzie feeding it forward, looking for Cameron, but Scales steps across and knocks it out of play. Yeah,
you just quickly mention that Maeda was caught a few times earlier on and just took it and got up, and you got on with the game. Hatate's like that as well. And players that are like that, you want them to get slight benefited out, because they're not trying to get their, you know, the players against them sent off or booked.
Yeah.
And certainly for Hatate, he's definitely not the type that would like to do that. He's getting booed with some fans there. That's unfair.
Yeah, it's a free kick to Celtic. I mean, I think the manners and respect that the Japanese guys from Celtic show are like second to none. I think Hatate, Maida, Kyogo, they're always quick to offer a hand if they have committed a foul, apologise to opponents. I just think they're very respectful people, and you're absolutely right, they certainly don't try and get opposition players sent off. So
try not to be biased, but I adore them for that attitude.
Yeah, no, I agree. Schmeichel in possession inside his own penalty area. We've got 8 minutes to play, plus a little bit of added on time, no doubt, at the end. Celtic leading by 2-0 as you listen to us here at Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. Kasper Schmeichel caught there by Donnelly, and that's going to be another yellow card. Schmeichel's not happy with it. Donnelly now almost in confrontation. Well, I think he's probably trying to offer an explanation. He was just trying to close him down, but he caught the Dane. He's gone into the book. Austin Trusty was quickly in there as well to voice his opinion on the matter. Callum McGregor's there as well, but Nick Walsh has shown the yellow card to Liam Donnelly, who was on the wrong end of the Hatate challenge a minute ago, and now he's the perpetrator against Schmeichel. Austin Trusty has also been yellow carded for his attempts of getting involved there, and Schmeichel, I mean, he's fine, but he was caught. Again, not entirely clear how much contact there was, and again, that will be checked as to whether it's a red card, but I think it looked like the referee called that one correctly as well. He's had a decent game, Nick Walsh, you would have to say, as Schmeichel will just take that free kick.
Yellow card all day long.
Yeah. And well, certainly if you're a Kilmarnock fan, you absolutely want Donnelly to be going and doing his utmost to close that down and not allow Schmeichel the time to comfortably clear it. There's going to be a change of pace just down below us as Gary Mackay-Steven prepares to come on. I think that's Luke McCowan for Celtic, who's going to make a late appearance, but don't think either is going to happen before this Kilmarnock free kick that was awarded for a Scales push a moment ago, and Donnelly will have a chance here to tease it in towards the penalty area from about 15 yards inside the Celtic half, headed away by Trusty, who's had a good game at the back alongside Scales. Carter Vickers hasn't been overly missed, you would have to say, on this occasion, as Murray tries to hit the byline, blocked by James Forrest, and now the changes will happen. And McCowan ready to come on first, and it'll be Rio Hatate, having just survived a little red card review a moment ago, is going to be withdrawn to be replaced by Luke McCowan, who you'd have to say hasn't looked out of place since making the move from Dundee to Celtic. A big step up, of course, in terms of expectations, but he looks very much the part in that Celtic squad.
It's one of the things that Brendan Rodgers has added. There's 3, 4, 5, 6 changes you make and you think, have you weakened the team there? Probably not. And that's all over the field. That's centre backs, that's full backs, that's midfield, that's everywhere. McCowan's a part of that.
Gary Mackay-Steven will just wait a little bit longer as this ball is hoisted into the penalty area by Ndaba, and Schmeichel was backpedaling, didn't look entirely comfortable until he realised it was definitely going to go just over his crossbar, and now that Kelly change does take place, and it's Liam Donnelly, the other one who's just booked a moment ago, replaced by Gary Mackay-Steven, applauded off by the home fans. 5 minutes to play. Well, I said this about Aberdeen yesterday, as Celtic also approached 10 wins from the first 11. The only team this century to win 10 of their first 11 league games was Celtic back in 2010, 2011. Celtic and Aberdeen, Celtic on the verge of doing it, Aberdeen have already done it, and it's making for a really tasty title challenge in this early part of the season. At least Aberdeen were looking to try and sustain that for as long as possible, as McCowan just tries to see that out of play, does well to hold off Ernest Cameron, and it's behind for a goal kick. But a great credit to Aberdeen for keeping pace with Celtic for as long as they have.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's such a competitive league, so hard to put any type of winning runs together, so great to see, brilliant. I mean, the crowds have responded to it. Crowds' attendances so far at Aberdeen have been outstanding, and for the good of the league, you hope it continues.
Kilmarnock will keep persevering for the rest of this game, that's for sure, but should they go on to lose, they'll look to use the positives from the performance as they go on after the international break and try and get back into the top 6, just 3 points off it if they go on to lose this one. There's Mayo playing it forwards. Ralston gets his head to it midway inside his own half, up towards McCowan, who immediately hits the deck as soon as he feels any contact from Ndaba, and it will be a Celtic free kick 10 yards inside their own half as the minutes tick down towards full time, and what looks now like an inevitable Celtic victory. But they have had to work pretty much as hard for this one as in any they have won in the end in the Premiership so far, but they could be in for a third goal here as Maida tries to collect on the edge of the box. There's an offside flag up as he loses out. Anyway, play continues as Robbie McCrory immediately sends it long, looking for the aerial threat of Cameron. Trusty gets something on it as well. Taylor helps it on. Rory McKenzie trying to keep the pressure on. McCowan picks up for Celtic, finds Forrest, back to Ralston midway inside his own half, plays it down the line, rather aimless one, but Kyogo will go and chase that and not make it comfortable for Robbie McCrory, who does get there first and clears it up towards Cameron once more. He uses his strength to hold off Ralston. Ralston then goes down, having taken a shoe to the face there from Fraser Murray, who finds himself in the boot as a result of that high foot.
Slightly harsh, that one. Yeah. He has to go for the ball there. It is raised, but head down as well, maybe a free kick, but not much in that one there. But do you know what? I've often said I don't see many very good games of football on plastic surfaces. This has been a good game of football, really good game of football.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, Pat. It has been a really good contest, but some really good quality as well within that. From both sides, you'd have to say. Celtic just with too much firepower in the end, with about 90 seconds of the 90 minutes remaining, and we'll soon get word of how much added on time there will be. But it hasn't been the steamrollering that it was in May, when Celtic absolutely tore through Killie to clinch the title. And Celtic have got themselves a free kick on the right hand side in a good position, about 30 yards from the goal line as they come forward, and a chance to add a little bit of gloss to the scoreline before the final whistle comes. Bernardo takes it short and gets it back from Ralston. Ralston once more midway inside the Killie half, back the way to Trusty. Quickly closed down there by Cameron, caught by Cameron in the end of the halfway line. Celtic free kick into the final minute of the 90 as the fourth official stands prepared to show us all how much time is going to be added on at the end.
Actually, also impressed with a lot of the Killie fans. Large numbers have stayed behind here. I think they're impressed with the efforts the team has made today. I want to give them applause when they come off the park, but just watching Celtic, how impressive that they've adapted so well to this. The different questions they're asked, it's quite an adaptation. They've done it brilliantly.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that will please Brendan Rodgers no end. In terms of the week, they were outstanding in terms of performances against Aberdeen semi-final, Leipzig the other night. Just everything. They've competed with first balls, they've been up in second balls, they've stopped crosses, they've matched their men, they've made off the ball runs. I think really as a team performance coming down here, they've did all the basics very, very well.
4 minutes added on as Dyson Maida collects a yellow card, which I can only assume is for accumulation of fouls. It didn't look to be much in that particular incident, as the ball was into the penalty area of Celtic and just about managed to get it clear. 2 or 3 headers required to get it out of the penalty area, under real pressure once more from Kilmarnock, who will wonder how they've come out of this game not only pointless but goalless as well, having created 2 or 3 really good opportunities. Probably the pick of the bunch was Matty Kennedy's one that was denied by Schmeichel, although Watkins also hit the post in the first half. Had that gone in, it might have been very different. Here's Kyogo at the other end, looking to buy himself a yard of space to get the shot away. Mackay-Steven closes him down and manages to keep the ball in play, and then fouls Kyogo, who's worked hard to try and win it back, and Celtic will have the free kick over on the far side as we go into the second minute of injury time. A free kick about 15 yards from the corner flag on the left touchline as Celtic look to try and make it 3-0 in these closing stages.
That almost sums up Celtic in a way. Kyogo's come on, he's not got much of the game. He's a big name player. He probably feels as if he should be starting, but when he comes on, is his bottom lip out? Nah. Go and work your socks off just to get that little bit of break there to kill the play, to make sure that this 2-0 scoreline is kept.
Scales plays it forward, flicked on nicely by McCowan down the left hand side. It's Taylor almost at the byline, checks back. No desperation to put that into the penalty area, just wants to hold on to possession, which he does, and finds McCowan again on the left hand side. He's closed down well though, and Lyons has won it from him. Anderson, he's crowded out. Celtic have it back, it's out of play though. It's going to be a throw in to Killie, far side. Couple of minutes of injury time have come and gone. 2 to play. Celtic leading by 2-0. Stick with us in Sports Sound here on BBC Radio Scotland. It's just 5 minutes to kick off at Ibrox, so not much time to wrap this one up before we cross to commentary with Rob McLean and the guys over at Ibrox between Rangers and Hearts. Another enthralling game in prospect. Highlights are both to follow on Sports Scene this evening as they're coming together there between a couple of players over on the far side, but no real harm done as Celtic take the free kick quickly. 90 seconds remaining of stoppage time. Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 2. Celtic returning to the top of the table on goal difference ahead of Aberdeen, but they're on the defensive here, looking to preserve the clean sheet. It's Fraser Murray left hand side up against Ralston, gets the ball into the 6-yard box, but it's away by Trusty. Bernardo now finds Forrest right hand side, steps away beautifully from a couple of Kilmarnock players. Great skill from the Celtic veteran winger. Now feeds forward for McCowan. Kyogo into the penalty area. Is it to be a third for Celtic? Kyogo, good stop from the right boot of Robbie McCrory to deny Celtic and Kyogo that third goal. Robbie McCrory's come up with a couple of good saves himself. to keep the scoreline down over the course of the 90. And there's another one into the final minute of injury time. Still Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 2.
Crowley probably thinks he's had one of his best games of the season, and he's lost 2 goals. It's a shame because he has played very well, but as I say, Schmeichel's been equally as good on the other side.
There's a shot coming in from Bernardo. It was blocked inside the Kelly penalty. It comes back to McCowan. McCowan goes for goal, but he's just off target, just over the top from the former Dundee midfielder, and it's behind for a goal kick in just the final few seconds. Stephen, Celtic ultimately good value for the 3 points.
Yeah, I think they've shaded that Kilmarnock have been excellent, but Celtic just they've been dogged, they've worked really hard, and just that, as Pat touched on, just that difference in quality in both boxes has been enough for them to get another 3 points.
Pat, agreed?
Feels as if Kilmarnock have had as many chances as Celtic, not a huge amount in it, but Kilmarnock are playing their game. Celtic have had to adapt, so Celtic, they know how to do them.
It's all over, and Celtic made to work hard by Kilmarnock, extremely hard, you would have to say, who had chances of their own, Watkins and Kennedy principally, but couldn't find the back of the net. But Celtic showed them how to do it. Callum McGregor with a cross really in the first half that evaded everyone and found the back of the net for his 5th goal of the season. And then into the second period, Nicholas Kuhn, the man of the moment, getting on the end of an Alistair Johnston ball forward, dancing into the penalty area, slotting past McCrory to put the game beyond Kilmarnock. And it's 3 points once more for the champions at Rugby Park. It finishes Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 2.
Football from Sport.